10 November 2024. And we welcome you to Sunday Night with Old Time Radio. We have a new series to introduce to you tonight. It's called Chando the Magician. We also return to Sonny and Buddy, Planet Man. We have the second part of Salute You, Sir. That's the BBC comedy designed for the armed forces. We have the Ozzie and Harriet show. And then something interesting in that we may have just the one episode available to us. It's called The Hidden Truth. And we close with episode 6 of Adventures with Morse, the City of the Dead. So let's get started.
Chandu, the Magician. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We present for your enjoyment Chandu, the Magician. And before our drama begins, we would like to suggest that probably you will like White King better than any other soap you have ever used. If you have a washing machine, listen. Get some White King from your grocer. Put some in your washer. Not so much, mind you, as the soap you've been using. Put in your clothes, put in the water, but not so hot as the water you thought you had to have to get things clean. Then turn on the power, run your wash through, and just see with your own eyes what happens. We try to make this radio drama thrilling, but honestly, what a thrill you'll have when you see clothes washed with this different kind of soap. Save on your soap bill. Save on your gas bill. Save on your clothes bill. You'll say, I love White King granulated soap. Frank Chandler, known in the Far East as Chandu the Magician, has been obliged to drop his search for the missing drawings in Cairo, and even for Robert Regin. The precious emerald entrusted to Chandler by his teacher, the Yogi, has been stolen by an Arab who has vanished into the Egyptian desert. As the present act opens, Chandler and the Regents, mounted on camels, have been traveling over the desert all day, following the route to the outlaw village. It is almost sunset. Chandu, the Magician.
I'll race you to that little hill, Betty.
All right, if we don't get bucked off or whatever camels do.
Don't get out of sight of the guides, Betty.
We won't get lost, Mother. Don't worry.
Oh, I don't know how they do it.
You getting tired, Dot?
A little. I'm getting used to the motion of the camel now, though. For a while this morning I wondered if I could possibly stay on all day.
I thought you were pretty quiet this morning.
That wasn't the only reason. I was wondering about Abdallah. You didn't tell me last night he was coming with us.
It's all right, Dorothy.
I hope so.
You're not still worrying about Betty. Even if she knew he was up ahead with the guides, she's furious with him.
You don't know much about girls of her age, do you? She's so overcome with what she calls the glamour of Egypt. And if she knew Abdallah had actually asked our permission to marry her, well, he'd be glamorous all over again, just as he was that first day in the bazaar.
She isn't going to know he's with us. He agreed not to come near her.
Well, I don't
Now,
trust
look up ahead there. You can't tell which one's Abdallah yourself. Now, can you?
Well, no, but I can't trust him, Frank. And I don't see how you can. After all, he's worked for Roxor for 10 years.
Well, I felt that way too, Dot, until I had that message from the Yogi.
Well...
And besides, he was certainly on my side in the scrap we got into in Roxor's room.
Yes, but...
He took a chance of getting a knife in his ribs. Why should he do that if he wanted me killed?
Well, the whole thing could have been put on for your benefit.
What?
You didn't know the other man. It was Abdallah who recognized him, or pretended to.
Oh, come now, Dot. If he wanted to lead us into a trap of some sort, there are many less complicated ways to do it.
Well, it's not so unreasonable. What's to prevent Abdallah from just running away with Betty?
All sorts of things.
Well, I don't...
Now, don't let this get on your nerves, Dot.
Well, what better chance could he want than this? Abdallah hired the guide. Here we are, miles from Cairo in the desert. We'd never find our way back.
As a matter of fact, I really don't blame you, Don. I know you can't help being frightened at all the things that have happened since you left home. But if you begin to worry about things you can't help, you'll turn into a jellyfish in emergencies. And that's not at all like you.
Well, I still don't think bringing Abdallah along comes under the heading of things we can't help.
I told you. He knows where that outlaw village is.
Yes, but...
Look here. This trip's the best thing in the world to cure Betty of thinking those sheiks are glamorous. When she sees them in their native village, she'll be all over it.
I'd be a lot more sure of that if I didn't remember I was exactly the same at her age.
No doubt.
Remember the crush I had on Valentino in the sheep?
How could I ever forget it? Now, pull in your camel, Dot. Now, look over there. No, there in the sky.
Oh, it's the oasis. Oh, at last.
It's a mirage.
Are you sure? Well, it's as clear as can be. A big lake and palm trees and white houses. Oh, Bob and Betty ought to see this. Bob!
That's odd.
Is that actually a reflection of the oasis?
Of course.
Why, I always thought that a mirage was imaginary.
Oh, no. It's almost like a reflection in a mirror.
We're right here, Mom.
Come here, you and Betty.
What are you stopping for, Uncle Frank? The guys are going right on. Whoa, Mohammed. I wish I knew how to say whoa in Arabic.
What do you want, Mom?
Look up there. It's a mirage. I thought you'd want to see it.
An oasis in the sky.
Well, where would a mirage be? Is that the oasis we're headed for, Uncle Frank?
I hope not.
Why? What's the matter, Frank?
It's too far away.
I never thought a mirage would look so real. How far away do you suppose it is? The oasis, I mean.
Miles. They always are. That's just the trouble.
But I thought Abdallah said we'd be there by sunset.
He did.
Oh, Uncle Frank, I told you couldn't believe anything he said. It'd be just like him to send us out in the desert where there isn't an oasis for 1,000 miles.
Oh, don't be silly. That one can't be 1,000 miles away.
Oh, it's too far to reach tonight, I know that. You wait here.
But the guides aren't stopping.
I'll stop them. You stay right where you are.
You know, Mom, when you get over the other side of a hill, it's like being in the middle of the ocean.
I know. Oh, I wish Uncle Frank had left us in Cairo.
Why, Mother, aren't you having fun?
We're just in his way. And besides...
He couldn't make it any better time without us, Mom. He said so.
I know what Mother's thinking. That Abdallah.
Well, I don't like him any better than you do, Bets. But Uncle Frank has to get the emerald box back.
I bet his magic's no good without it. Don't you, Mom?
I don't know, Betty. But I can't see why a pickpocket would take the emerald back to his village. He could surely sell it in Cairo.
That great big thing? You'd be afraid to.
There could be a gem cutter in the village, though.
And he'd cut it all up. You're always reading about things like that at home.
Say, I wonder if that's what Uncle Frank's afraid of. He's sure steamed up about it.
No wonder. Remember what we heard the Yogi say in the crystal that first night? He told Uncle Frank to guard the emerald with his life.
Oh, I can't help thinking this may be just a wild goose chase. And while we're gone...
You're thinking about Daddy.
Yeah. Roxor could have arranged this whole thing so he could get your father out of Cairo.
Did Abdallah say Dad was in Cairo? Was that what he told you after you sent Betty and me upstairs?
No. No, he said the last time he saw your father was with Roxor in Algiers.
Mother, when was that?
Oh, a long time ago. Soon after the ship sank.
I'll bet Abdallah knows where Dad is right now.
Well, he swears he doesn't. He doesn't even know where Roxor is.
That Abdallah. Oh, Mother, you're shivering. Put on your sweater.
Oh, you better put yours on, too, dear.
Okay.
As soon as the sun goes down, it's freezing.
Listen. Am I hearing things, or is that music?
Now, I thought I just imagined it. Well, where could Uncle Frank have gone?
Oh, I see him right over there, coming up over the dune.
Come on, all of you. The guides are putting up the tents.
Are we just going to sleep out in the sand?
No, there's a small oasis just over the dune.
Is everything all right, Frank?
So far, yes.
I'm beginning to wonder how you get off the camel once you're on him. I hope he knows I'm just a tourist and not used to camels.
One of the guides will help you down, Betty.
I'm just going to jump off.
A lot of good you'll be, way out here with a broken leg.
From jumping off a camel into the sand? You must think my bones are full of jello.
Frank, where's that music coming from?
You'll see when we get to the top of the hill. There.
Oh, it's just just like a picture. A little fire reflected on the palm trees. Well, you'll have to admit this is glamorous, Mother.
All right, dear. I admit it.
Who are those fellows, Uncle Frank?
Another caravan, Bob, camped for the night. I asked them to send their leader over here.
Why, they must know their stuff. Finding a little oasis in the middle of nowhere.
And they do.
Something smells awfully good. I hope we can have dinner pretty soon.
It won't be long, Betty. The cooking fires are lighted.
I feel as if I hadn't eaten a thing for years.
After all that lunch?
Well, that was a long time ago.
Now we'll get off here. Dukov, on deck.
Hey, is that the way you get off, Uncle Frank?
Nothing to it. Let me help you, Dot. Wait until the camel kneels.
All right.
There you are. Just slide off now. There, you all right?
Oh, yeah, fine.
Well, that's it, Bob. Now, Betty, I'll help you down.
Okay. Oh! Don't you feel funny and little?
Yeah.
You can all go over there where they're putting up the tents.
I bet we'll creak in every joint tomorrow.
Thy night be happy, friend.
And to thee, peace. Which way does your caravan travel?
To Cairo. Is there a message I may bear?
No, it's not that. Have you seen a man alone on the route today?
Aywa, Yasidi. At the rising of the sun were two men racing camels. One big and strong, like a man who tries his skill in fighting in the bazaars. Black of hair and
Which
beard.
way were they going?
Are they then thy friends?
No, they're thieves. I followed them to bring back what they stole from me.
Aye.
Which way did they go?
Into the desert. If thou would see thy goods again, follow them fast.
I intend to. Peace be upon thee, friend.
And upon thee, peace.
Bob, you see that the men put your mother's place in her tent.
Precious time will he spend in the desert, seeking the great emerald. And in Cairo, I shall sell it for the price of many camels and many wives.
Our drama has come to a close until tomorrow night. But there's drama and maybe magic in millions of homes where White King soap is used. Once upon a time, people thought they should buy 2 or 3 kinds of soap. One for washing machine and dishpan, maybe 1 or 2 for dainty things like lingerie and stockings. But more and more people discovered White King, the one and only one soap you ever need, no matter who you are, where you live, or what you have to wash. Your husband may be an engineer, or he may work in a bank. You may have sheets and pillowcases no end to wash, or you may live in a hotel with no laundering problem other than your nylons. Listen to these wonderful words. White King gets out the stubbornest dirt. White King protects as with a caress the daintiest fabrics. Know what you'll say, do you? You'll say this: I love White King. Chandu the Magician is presented for your enjoyment every weekday evening. Special musical backgrounds are by Korla Pandit. The makers of White King invite you to listen again tomorrow at this same time when the story resumes. Chandu, the Magician. This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
When When we last left you, Charcoal told Sonny and Buddy to swim for the shore, while he held the smugglers off with his revolver. We've all been wondering if Sonny and Buddy reached the shore safely. So here we go, down to the Rio Grande, and find our two little heroes on the Mexican side of the river. As Sonny says...
Are you all right, buddy? Yeah, I'm okay, Sonny. How are you? Oh, I'm all right. But gosh, for a while I was afraid I wouldn't be able to make it to shore. Yeah, it was a longer swim than I expected. Gosh, that water was cold. Say, how are we going to get dry? I know. Let's build a campfire. Get some of those dry leaves and twigs, and then we can take off our shoes and clothes and dry them. Yeah, but where are we going to get the match to start the fire? Oh, we don't need a match. That's one of the things I learned as a Boy Scout. How to start a fire without matches. Simply by rubbing two dry sticks together. Oh, that's right. Here are a couple of sticks. You start rubbing them together, Sonny, and I'll go out and get some dry leaves and a piece of bark. Okay. And get some dry branches, too. Okay. Say, let's make a great big fire, Sonny, so it'll be a good signal for Charcoal to follow. Yeah. He may see the fire on the bank, and if he does, he'll come right over. Gosh, I wonder if he'll ever get off that boat safely. I hope he does. But if those men get a chance, they'll kill him. It's a lucky thing that Charcoal thought to have us take all the guns from the smugglers and throw them in the water. If those desperate men get a chance, they won't need guns. They'll take a club or anything. Poor Charcoal. Hey, the fire's going. Wait till I blow on it. Oh, boy, come on now. Pile the dry twigs and branches around while I get the blaze started. Oh, boy, that'll be a great fire. Charcoal ought to be able to see that all right. Gosh, I wonder where we are. Why, we're in Mexico, and right on the other side of the river is a good old USA. Gosh, these woods are sure dark and spooky. Yeah, it looks like a jungle. Buddy, what'll we do if Charcoal doesn't get off that boat, and Doc and Betty can't find us? Just think, here we are alone and without food, guns, or anything. Gosh, I hope we don't have to stay all night in these woods alone. It sure will be scary. Yeah, I'd feel a lot safer if we had some grown-up person with us, like Charcoal. Poor old Charcoal. I'm afraid we'll never see him again. Going home, going home. Listen, buddy. Doesn't that sound like Charcoal singing? Yeah. It is Charcoal. Sure it is. Hey, Charcoal. Hi, Charcoal. Charcoal, here we are. Over here.
How you all getting along?
Oh, Charcoal, gee, but we're glad to see you. How'd you get away from the boat, Charcoal?
Oh, man, I had me some time after you all left. But as soon as I see that you boys were swimming away safe, I backed that gang of snuggling men in the cabin of the boat and locked the door. Yeah, man, and then I struck out for the shore.
But where did you get the rowboat?
I found it tied to the big boat, and that ain't all I brung. Look at here.
You brought the guitar along? Mm-hmm. Oh, Charcoal, you know you shouldn't take things that don't belong to you.
Most likely they stole it from somebody else, and besides, I need a new guitar, and this one sure has got a sweet tone. Boy, listen to this.
Yeah, that has got a swell tone, hasn't it? Say, buddy, the fire's getting low. You better build it up a little. Okay, Sonny. I'll throw another log on the fire. Keep my golden memories aglow. I don't see the face of my loved one when the logs are burning low. Throw another log on the fire. Bring back all the sweetest days I've known when our hearts were young in the springtime and her love was mine alone. Now there's nothing left but the embers. Springtime seems so long, long ago. Throw another log on the fire. Keep my golden memories aglow.
Oh, man, that's still was sweet, buddy.
Say, Charcoal, how'd you know where to find us?
Well, I see this big fire, and I figured you'd be someplace close by.
Yeah, and we were hoping that Doc and Betty would be here waiting for us. Well, maybe they had trouble crossing the bridge. You know how particular that customs officer is.
Well, I sure don't want to spend much time in these woods, man. This is a dangerous country.
What's dangerous about it, Charcoal?
Oh, boy, these Mexican woods is plumb full of wildcats.
Oh, no, Charcoal. Wildcats don't live so near civilization. They're way off in the jungle somewhere.
No, they ain't. Only last week, right here in these same woods, a man shot a wildcat 40 feet long.
How long, Charcoal?
About 30 feet long.
Now, tell the truth, Charcoal. How long was the wildcat?
I am telling you the truth. From the tip of his tail to the end of his nose, that wildcat was every bit of 2 feet long.
That sounds more like
it. Yeah, I sure don't crave to be in these woods with all these wild animals. I don't like it at all. Me, that's who. Oh, listen to that.
Listen to what?
Didn't you hear somebody say, ooh, ooh?
Yes, I heard it, but it's nothing but an owl. Owls won't hurt you.
No, but they liable to make me hurt myself. Who is it that says who when I say who?
It's me, Charcoal.
Ooh, I'm a night owl. I wake up as soon as the sun goes down. Ooh, I'm a night owl. I start out and I do the town up round. I make light of the darkness like my friend in the tree. Long about 3, I'm hootin', still hootin'. Ooh, I'm a night owl. Just like that great bird, I am a late bird, too.
I say you's a hoot owl. Oh, look yonder, up in that tree. Don't you see them 2 glassy eyes staring down at us?
Oh, Charcoal, that's just another owl.
No, Sonny, I ain't fooling this time. Look up there in that tree.
Yeah, I see them. Say, crawl up in the tree, Charcoal, and see what it is.
Crawl up in what and see which? Climb up in that tree where them 2 eyes is. You ain't talking to me. I ain't curious.
Oh, go on, Charcoal. I thought you were so brave. Look how you held off that band of desperate men.
That's different. You can reason with men, but you can't reason with no wild animal.
Oh, it's not a wild animal. It's probably a possum or a wild turkey.
Well, if it is, we ought to catch it and save it. Because if Doc doesn't find us right away, we'll need food. And we could cook the game and manage to eat anyway.
I'll tell you what we'll do, Charcoal. Buddy and I'll climb up in the tree and chase him out. And you stand under the tree and catch him.
Yeah, that's the idea. If it's a turkey, you can shoot it. And if it's a possum, you can catch it. Come on, Sonny. Say, Charcoal, boost us up in the tree.
I'll boost you up. There you go. Both of you, get up there. Now. Go ahead.
Here we go. I see him. It's a possum, I think. Come on, Sonny, and help me. We'll shake him out. Now, you stand under the tree, Charcoal, and be ready to catch him. Now, don't let him get away.
All right, let him come. I'm waiting for him.
Here he comes, Charcoal. Catch him.
I got him.
Hold him, Charcoal. Hold him. Don't let him get away.
Oh, the mustard, this ain't no possum. This is a wildcat.
A wildcat?
Oh, make him let me go. Oh, boy, he's biting me. He's striking my eyes out.
Hold him, Charcoal. Hold him. Say, you want us to come down there and help you hold him?
Hold him nothing. I want you to come down here and help me turn him loose.
Oh, Charcoal, that's no wildcat. That's just a plain old alley cat.
Yeah, just somebody's old tomcat. He must be near somebody's house.
Lord, man, the way that thing was scratching me, I thought sure it was a wildcat.
Why, the poor old cat was as frightened as you were. Look at him go.
That must be them.
Listen, Charcoal, do you suppose that could be the smugglers looking for us?
It might be. No, they're not going to let us get away without Doc paying them the $50 he promised them. They're bound to follow us.
I wonder how they got out of that cabin. I thought sure I had them locked up safe. Come on, let's run.
Run nothing. Where would we run? No, put the fire out so it'll be good and dark and they can't see us. Get some water from the river in your hat, Charcoal, and throw it on the fire, and then hide.
Well, up here in the tree, too. They'll never think to look for us in the tree. They'll most likely look all through the woods.
All right, here goes the water on the fire. Now, I throw some wet dirt on the ashes. Now, you boys climb further up in the tree, just as high as you can. Careful, you don't fall out now.
All right.
Keep crawling.
All right.
Yeah, they put this fire out and are trying to make a getaway, but they can't get far.
You're right, Sonny. That's the smugglers, all right. I recognize their voices. But keep quiet and don't make a move. Charcoal, get your gun ready, because you may have to use it.
Yeah, you're right, Scarface. This is our rowboat. It's the same one that black boy stole from us. They just put the fire out, and they're bound to be somewhere close around. Come on, let's find them.
No, I want to stay right here and wait for them. They'll come back sure to this boat.
Now, look along the riverbank. And Joe, you go out in the brush. Scarface, you stay right here and watch for them. And don't leave this spot.
All right. Oh, Lord of mercy, we've done for.
That man is sitting right under this tree. Under this tree? Oh, gosh.
And now our adventurers are in a tight place. With Scarface standing guard under the tree, how will they ever get down from their hiding place? Preparedness may be a big word for some of the little fellows, but that word is the moral of our program tonight. Through Sonny's knowledge of Boy Scout training, he learned to build a fire without the use of matches. And Charcoal located Sonny and Buddy by the campfire signal, and perhaps saved them from becoming lost in the woods. So all boys and girls should remember to prepare themselves in every possible way. Learn to swim, to build fires, and also how to put out fires, so that if you're ever lost or alone as Sonny and Buddy were tonight, you'll always know how to take care of yourself.
The Planet Man. Planet Man. This is the fascinating story of Dantro, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization, the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Dantro the Planet Man fighting for fair play. In a moment, the Planet Man. You'll remember that Planet Man, Pat, and Slats are deep in the ancient tunnels beneath the palace of Marston, evil ruler of Mars. They have what they believe to be just 6 hours to thwart Marston's plans to conquer the Earth and throw the solar system into war. Billy and Jane, held as hostages by Marston, have disappeared. Back on Planaria Rex, Judge Augustus and Professor Darrow hope for some miracle to stop Marston before the deadline set by the other planets to strike, actually only 4 hours away. In the meantime, Dantro, Slats, and Pat are desperately seeking a plan to stop Marston and save Billy and Jane.
Whatever we do, Slats, we must be right. It'll be tough, but if we could only eliminate Marston, we'll throw the whole campaign into confusion. That's the weakness of dictatorship, Slats. When something happens to the dictator, no one is trained to think for himself.
Yeah, I guess you're right, but...
Dantro, Slats, come here, hurry.
Something's wrong. Let's go.
Yeah. Hey, where are you, Pat?
Up ahead of you, here.
What's wrong, Pat? Are you hurt?
Oh, I'm all right. But look at what I found. I was just sort of exploring while you two were talking, and I leaned against the wall here, and a whole section of it disappeared. There's some kind of a room in there with machinery in it.
Boy, oh boy, look at that stuff. That gadget looks big enough to be almost anything. What is it, Dantro?
It's one of the ancient machines. It seems to be in perfect condition. We've found them before, but they've always been wrecked or damaged.
Will it help us? Maybe we can use it against Marston.
Can you operate it?
Well, I can try. Let's see. This looks like a power switch. We'll throw it and find out.
You've done it. You've done it. How wonderful.
Not so fast, Pat. That's just the power. Do you realize how remarkable this is? This machine is at least 40,000 years old, and it works as though it were built yesterday.
Hey, what's this stuff over here?
Oh, no, don't touch anything, Slats. Until we've had a chance to figure out the way the different parts work, we may destroy it or ourselves.
It does look something like your cosmic communicator. See, there's a kind of a screen.
You're right, Pat. Here, let me try those dials. Easy now.
Hey, look, the screen's lighting up.
Something's forming on it. What is that, Dantro?
It's a picture, all right, but I don't recognize anything. Wait, let's try some different adjustments.
I recognize that. It's the jungle outside the palace. See, that's one of the ruins we passed. Remember that funny-looking tower?
Right, you are. I think I've got the hang of it now. Let's look in on a few friends and enemies and see what's been going on.
Stay close to me, Jane, and don't make a sound.
Where are we going?
I don't know, but any place is better than that storeroom Marston had us cooped up in.
I'm glad that guard left the door unlocked.
Girls always talk too much. I told you to be quiet.
All right. But I was wondering what happened to Slats. He was going to come back.
You can't worry about that now. We've got to try and get away from that awful Marston.
Do you really think we can?
Will you be quiet?
All right. Look, there's a window or something.
I see it.
Billy, be careful.
I'm just looking out. Hey, come here. Wow.
There must be 1,000 spaceships out there.
Gosh, it sure looks bad for the Earth.
What do you mean?
Oh, Jane, you're so dumb. That's the fleet Marston's going to use to attack the Earth. They won't have a chance. One of those big jobs could probably do it all alone.
Billy, don't talk like that.
I can't help it, but it's true. They can just sit up in space where our planes and guns can't reach them and destroy anything they like. From what I've heard the guards say, just their rays alone can wipe out a city like New York in a few minutes.
Isn't there something somebody can do? I wish Dantro were here. He'd stop them.
Well, he's not, so it's up to us.
Up to us? Billy, what are you talking about? What can we do?
I don't know, but we can't just stand here.
Only we could somehow warn the Earth. Then people could at least go into air raid shelters and places like that. Even if Marston did destroy the buildings, the people would be all right.
If is right. Hey, gee, maybe that's an idea.
What are you talking about?
Listen carefully. You see those little ships right over here near the palace?
Sure. What about them?
You notice how everybody seems to be busy around the big ones?
That's right. There's nobody over with the small ones at all. But what good does that do us?
I'll bet if we tried, we could sneak into one of them.
Well, suppose we did. What good would that do?
Gosh, don't be so dumb. We could take off and fly to Earth and warn the people about Marston.
Billy, you're crazy. You can't fly one of those.
I'll bet I can. I've watched Dantro when he was flying the Planeteer, and I'm sure I remember what to do.
Billy, where are you going?
Down to the field.
Billy! Billy, wait for me!
Will Billy and Jane be able to get into one of the Armada ships? And if they do, what then? We'll be back in a moment, so level up. When we left Billy and Jane, they were trying to sneak aboard one of the Marston Armada spaceships. They hoped to take off and warn Earth of the impending attack from Mars. In the meantime, Dantro, Pat, and Slats have discovered a most amazing device in the depths of Marston's palace, which was part of an ancient Martian civilization. As we find them now, they are operating this device.
Look, there's the League of Planets fleet. There must be 5,000 ships.
The greatest concentration of power in history of the solar system, Pat. And it's all going to hit right here if we don't do something.
But what can we do? We've been trying to figure this machine out for an hour, and all we can do is look in and listen to people. At least if we could figure out how to send messages, we might be able to tell Judge Augustus and Professor Darrow what's happening.
And we have 2 hours less than we thought we did.
Yeah.
How much time is left before the deadline, Dantro?
About 2 hours now, Pat.
Can't you figure out how to work this overgrown pipe organ?
I'm doing the best I can, Slats. If only I could understand the symbols the ancients used, it would be much easier. But as it is, I'm just guessing.
Why don't we just pull down all the things at once?
Slats, you're an engineer. You know better than that. I'm sure a machine as powerful as this has some kind of an anti-tampering control built in. If we fool around too much, the whole thing will cut off.
Leave him alone, Slats. If you keep interrupting, it'll just be that much longer.
That's all right, Pat. Sometimes questions like that make you think of things you wouldn't have otherwise.
Okay, I'll shut up. Let's get back to work.
This way, Jane. Duck down here next to me.
Billy, I hear footsteps. There's a guard or something coming.
Jane, I hear them too. Now just stay here and be quiet.
it's close. Where do we go now?
I think if we go out that door, there's a wall we can follow that'll take us to within a few yards of a ship. Come on. I was right. See, there's a ship over there.
You aren't going to go across that open space, are we?
How else can we get there?
Someone will see us.
Let's not even think about it. Get ready now. Come on.
Billy, we made it.
Let's just hope there's no one on board. The control deck must be up this way.
I hope you know what you're doing.
It's too late now to turn back.
Look at all those gadgets. Are you sure you remember how to work them?
Sure. Just leave everything to me.
What are you doing? What's that for?
That's the switch that turns on the atomic pile. It makes graphite rods slide out. Anyhow, it's something like that.
What are you doing now?
Will you be quiet? I'm trying to concentrate. I'm sure this thing makes us right. And then this one is the direction control.
I'm scared.
Why, you girls, you're always scared.
Maybe I am, but I'm right here with you anyhow. You'll think you're fooling me, but you're not. You're just as scared as I am, only you won't admit it.
All right. Only, gee whiz, stop gabbing, won't you? How do you expect me to think? Well, here goes.
Billy, we're going up. What did you think we'd do? Go down? Earth, here we come.
Captains, you know our plan. In an hour and a half, we strike. Scout ships will move in ahead and pick the targets. You, Captain Tor, will take your Mercurian heat ray cruisers in on the left flank, and you, Sark, will cover the right with your disintegrators. The Venusian atomic artillery platforms will hover at 500,000 miles and bombard targets of opportunity. I will be in the center, and...
Sir, one of our patrols just reported a Martian scout taking off.
One ship, you say, a scout?
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, this is what we've been waiting for. We will strike now, but first we must destroy that scout. It may be a trick of some sort. Captain NATO, take 2 light cruisers, intercept that scout, and burn it out of space. The rest of you, back to your ships and stand by for the order to attack.
It looks as though the greatly feared war of the solar system is at hand. And all because the League of Planets Squadron doesn't know that the Martian ship which just took off is being piloted by Billy and Jane, who hope to prevent the war by their getaway. What will be the fate of Billy and Jane? What is the fate of the entire planet world? We'll be back in a moment. But first, here is a message the Planet Man wants you to hear. Tune in again for more transcribed thrills and adventures. Rocket millions of light years into space with Dantro, the Planet Man. The Planet Man.
Hey, boss.
Yeah?
The procession's ready to start.
Oh, let's have a look.
Look at all those Kentucky minstrels with white feet.
Kentucky? Don't be silly. Those are Bevan boys. They've just been paddling. Now, tell the band to strike up.
Which song, boss?
Our victory song, dedicated to the man who's won the war.
You, boss?
Well, that's very loyal of you, Sam. And I smoke a pipe. Now start the procession. We're glad we walk behind the man who smoked the big cigar. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. We follow the man whose master plan has carried us through the war. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. One sniff of the old Havana, we'd follow him right to Fujiyama. We're glad we walk behind the man who smoked the big cigar. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. Which way do we go, Sam?
Left, boss.
Right, Sam, right. We're glad we walk behind the man who smoked the big cigar. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. We follow the man whose master plan has carried us through the war. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. One sniff of the old Havana, we'd follow him right to Fujiyama. We're glad we walk behind the man who smoked the big cigar. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la. Tell me, Sam, where's the procession?
they've gone the other way, boss.
Oh, we must have gone down the wrong street. I can smell chips. We're all right. They've gone down the wrong street.
Oh, Mr. Hanley.
Yeah?
I'm from the BBC.
Oh.
Yes, they've sent me out with this microphone to ask you how V-Day affects you.
I see.
Would you say a few words?
Certainly. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, excuse me. This is the microphone. That is the lamppost.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just force of habit, you know.
Oh, not at all, not at all. Now, will you say something, Mr. Hanley?
Right. Borshak. Here, give me that mic. I'll ask the questions. Now, sir, will you say a few words?
Excuse, please, mister.
Lovely, it's alley-oop.
Mister, you buy saucy flag, made of rag?
Don't hang carpets on the mic.
Oh, mister, you like funny picture? Private life, Boris very rummy, oh, lummy.
Give them to me. Why, they're not fit to be seen. Sam, get them enlarged. Now go away, Ali. We're broadcasting.
All right. I go. I come back.
Now, sir, I'm collecting opinions of V-Day. Now, what's yours?
Anything that's left, sir.
Oh, good. It's the Colonel, still standing. Now, go away, old boy. Oh, now, madam, would you like to speak down the mic?
Well, I don't know, I'm sure.
Oh, go on. You never know. Leonard Hurry might be listening. Now, what's your name?
Bubbles Brown.
That's funny, so do mine. What's your address?
22 Acacia Road.
Thank you.
Will I be hearing from you?
Yes, I'll be round just after 9. You've got the address down, Sam?
Yeah, boss.
How big's your father?
Oh, he's huge.
Rub it out, Sam, will you? Anybody else? Now this is interesting. A bearded baby in a 3-wheel pram smoking a clay pipe. What did you do on V-Day, sonny?
I'll have to ask me dad.
I'm getting sick of this. Is there anyone here with a mind of their own?
Mr. Handler?
That's torrid, Sam. Quick, behind this water tank. We must get somebody to say something. Who's that knocking on the tank?
Don't forget the diver, sir. Don't forget the diver.
Lummy, it's Deep End Dan. Well, listen, as the war's over, what are you doing?
I'm going down now, sir.
Well, that concludes our broadcast static at the corner. Back to the studio. Well, how did we get there, Sam?
Follow the band, boss.
Oh, of course. Well, that's an idea. Now, come on, everybody. We're glad we walked behind the man who smoked the big cigar. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. We follow the man whose master plan has carried us through the war. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. One day for the old Havana. We follow him like the Fujian. We're just in time to hear the man who smoked the big cigar. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la.
You've been listening to Tommy Hanley in Itmar with Jack Train, Dorothy Summers, Horace Percival, Dino Galvani, Sidney Keith, Fred Ewell, Clarence Wright, Diana Morrison, Gene Capra, and Rich. The augmented BBC Variety Orchestra conducted by Charles Shadwell, script by Ted Kavanagh, produced by Francis Worsley.
That was Tommy Handley and the Gang with V. Itmar, first broadcast on the 10th of May 1945. Handley died on the 9th of January 1949, whilst the latest recording of Itmar was being broadcast, and the news was announced directly afterwards.
The death was announced this evening of Mr. Tommy Handley. He had a stroke about midday and died soon afterwards. The news of his death reached Broadcasting House as a recording of his latest Itmar was going out. Tommy Handley, famous as he was, kept out of the reference books, and his age was not published. He was about 55.
There was genuine nationwide mourning, culminating in 2 memorial services, one in his hometown of Liverpool and the other at St Paul's in London, the first ever comedian to be commemorated there. 10,000 attended the crematorium. Tommy Handley. A genuine one-off. Well, that's all for the first hour. For the next, we're all at sea, and the colour is navy blue.
Oh! Nasty.
The digital station for comedy, drama and entertainment. BBC Radio 4 Extra.
I'm Ian Lavender, and you're listening to Salutes You, Sir, a look back at the groundbreaking and classic radio comedy shows that kept up the morale of servicemen and women and civilians alike. In an hour from now, we reach for the sky with RAF comedy, Much Binding in the Marsh, and end with an episode of Dad's Army in which, as Private Frank Pike, I wander into a minefield. But it's okay. It's one of ours. In half an hour, Sub-Lieutenant Phillips has his hands far too full for a touch of left hand down a bit in the Navy Lark, but first, it's the programme that provided the roots for that show. As I mentioned earlier, Merry-Go-Round was a programme that rotated among the three services, and when it was the Navy's turn, its show within a show was HMS Waterlogged. Whereas the Navy Lark was based aboard HMS Troutbridge, HMS Waterlogged was set in a naval shore base at Sinking in the Ooze. However, the shenanigans and incompetence were common to both, as was one of the stars, Lieutenant John Pertwee, who got his big break when he was asked to shout, "Why keep picking on the poor perisher?" when he was a member of the audience whilst officially representing the Admiralty. Eric Barker was the star of the show. His wife, Pearl Hackney, was also in the cast, and you may remember her as playing my mum in Dad's Army on the radio. From August 1945, this is HMS Waterlogged from Merry-Go-Round.
Men and women serving around the world, here's Merry-Go-Round. Week by week, the show goes round the services, bringing music and fun to boys and girls in khaki and 2 shades of blue. This week, the predominating colour is once again navy blue. Here we are with the microphone on the parade ground in the very heart of HMS Waterlogged, sinking in the Ooze. In front of me, the visiting dance band of the Royal Navy Plymouth Division, the Navy Tones, under the direction of leading telegraphist Dick Mayer. Above me, the white ensign flying on a broomstick in an ARP sandbucket. To the left of me, the colour guard, consisting of 3 badge group, 1 unable seaman, John Pertwee standing by in overalls and a bowler hat. And to the right of me, arriving late as usual and picking his way through the gash bins on the quarterdeck, the commanding officer, the hope of the British radio, Sub-Lieutenant Eric Heartthrob Barker.
Parade! Carry on smoking. I have a few announcements here for anybody who's interested. Silence. Silence. Leave will be cancelled next weekend. As nobody's come back from last weekend yet, it won't make the slightest difference, but I thought I'd just mention it. No hard feelings on either side. As a matter of fact, it's not my idea at all. It's in this week's confidential Admiralty Fleet orders. Messenger, run up to my cabin, get a copy of this week's confidential Admiralty Fleet orders, will you? You'll find it on the windowsill in the bathroom. I'm afraid this disciplinary measure has been taken as a result of the Admiral's visit here last week. Some of you fellows seem to have no idea. The sentry at the main gate, for example, when the Admiral arrived, I should have preferred to him to have presented arms in the usual way, instead of just raising his cup of tea and shouting, "Hiya, Charlie." He also commented on the fact that the bar of the Oyster Smack in the High Street was packed to overflowing a minute after opening time. Once again, it is forbidden to enter the Oyster Smack during working hours. He and I couldn't get near the place. We had to go to the Railway Arms in the end. You know what the beer like there. And as for divisions, you all let me down, although we'd rehearsed and rehearsed. How many times must I tell you that after an Admiral's speech, the correct thing to sing is for "He's a Jolly Good Fellow, not Roll Me Over." And so now you've had your leave stopped, and when you put your next request in for leave, do it properly. From so-and-so to commanding officer, request for weekend leave from PM Friday to PM Sunday. Not just shoving off Thursday, see you Tuesday.
Darling, tea's ready.
Ah, there's the signal distributing office calling me up with an important signal. Color guard will move to the right in threes, left tongue. Guard will retire to the tune of Cossack Patrol. By and large, quick march.
Good morning, sir.
Ah, good morning, Wren Pearl Hackney. Oh, this is most irregular, Wren Hackney.
Yes, sir.
We must make it regular. Give me the signals and we get down to business.
Yes, darling.
Take the signals away and we get down to business.
Well, I had a top secret signal here somewhere. Ah, there it is, on the top of the safe.
Oh, what do you keep in the safe?
The tea and sugar.
That's a very slack system, Wren Hackney. Now, all incoming signals should go in the in basket, all outgoing signals in the out basket, all those you can't make a head or tail of in the waste paper basket, and all those marked general distribution to everybody.
Don't expect too much, sir. Don't forget I'm the only Wren here, and I'm already the victualling office, the ship's office, captain's secretary, and mess caterer.
Oh, it was you who organised lunch when the Admiral came?
Yes, I laid on that lunch.
Laid on it? Blimey, looks as if somebody had been doing PT on it. Hello, look, that top secret signal it's gone off the top of the safe.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's all right. The messenger hadn't got a kettle holder.
What messenger?
Why, Able Seaman John Pertwee.
Hello?
How about that kettle holder?
Oh, what? That bit of paper? Oh, I just lit the fire with it out the back.
But it was a top secret signal.
Oh, well, you gave me quite a turn. I thought he was going to say it was a book of leave warrants.
You'll get me court-martialed over this.
Oh, well, it had to come sooner or later, didn't it? Now, wait a minute, let me see. Now, well, I had a duck at that signal. Now, what did it say? Oh, I know. It was about a distinguished guest arriving today. That's it, a big BBC producer, you know.
A big BBC producer?
Mm-hmm.
Not Burgomaster Bridgemont, the producer of Merry-Go-Round?
Yes, that's right, it was him.
Oh, coming in again? Oh, dear. Last time I shoved him in the cells by mistake. Do you remember? Oh, it's true. Well, you know, big chap, weighs about 18 stone, ginger hair.
Yes, that's right, that's him.
Well, he's here.
He's here?
Yes.
Where?
Handcuffed in the guardhouse. I saw the PO of the main gate slip him on him.
Oh, dear, there's the PO of the main gate now, coming out of the oyster smack as usual. Petty Officer George Crow.
Somebody call.
Yes, do you realise what you've done now? You've handcuffed a BBC producer.
Oh, well, that's one less.
But what made you do it?
I thought he wasn't right in the head, sir.
Well, would you be if you had to produce merry-go-round?
It was the cut of his suit that made me suspicious, and the remark he made, sir.
Oh?
Yes, he said how glad he was to come back and be with the Navy.
Well, what had the cut of his suit to do with it?
I thought he was a demobbed stoker gone round the bend, sir.
I must go and face him, Crow. Didn't he say anything when you handcuffed him?
Yes, sir. He said, just wait till I see my friend, the second Sea Lord.
Oh, well, I suppose the Pacific's all right when you get used to it. Open the door, Crow. Let's get it over.
Oh, he's asleep.
Yes.
Look.
We could take the handcuffs off him anyway. Where's the key?
Oh, good gracious. I've just remembered. Sid's got it.
Who's Sid?
The sentry who's on duty.
Well, I can't see him. Where is he?
He asked me if I'd mind standing in for him while he slipped home for a few minutes.
Where's his home?
Oh, Sid's? John O'Groats.
Crow, this is too much. You're a defaulter.
Oh, blimey. That means I'll have to stand in for Crow.
Oh, dear, that means I shan't get an afternoon off. Oh, I know, I've got it. Look, let's pretend we've a frightfully secret exercise on and tell him that the sentries had instructions to arrest any strange civilian for miles around as a spy. He'll have to take it sportingly then.
Yes, you're quite right, Pearl, but we still haven't undone the handcuffs or woken him up.
Oh, he must think we've been much too busy for that. Look, we'll just go outside the door, and you, Eric, you can shout a lot of nautical orders to make him think the exercise is going in full belt.
Nautical orders? Yes, all right, ho, boys, let's come outside the door. Right, ho. Splash the main brace.
Righto, I'm off, you know.
Yeah, come back. It's only a figure of speech. Petty Officer George Crow, now heave-ho and walk away handsomely.
Walk away handsomely?
Yes.
Oh, very well, sir, if you insist.
Look, now, we don't want any visual comedy, Crow. That's a nautical order. It says so somewhere in the manual of seamanship. Hands to action stations. Hard to starboard. Port your helm. Is he waking up yet?
Not a sign. Let me have a go. I'll whisper in his ear. Yes. Mr. Bridgemont demand. Oh, useless.
Here, come on, let me have a go. Stop this messing about. Beer!
I don't mind, small one. Thanks very much. Where am I? Who are you?
We're Alexander's ragtime band.
Ah, of course. HMS Waterlog sinking in the ooze. I say, this is my second visit here, and the second time you've arrested me. I was pushed in here, handcuffed. Kindly release me at once.
We've lost the key.
This is impossible.
Why, do you want a scratch? Unfortunately, Burgomaster, you arrived in the middle of a very important exercise. The sentries had orders to arrest everyone they didn't know.
Oh, I see. Well, that explains everything, I suppose. An exercise. Oh, very interesting. The Admiralty told me you would give me every facility again. I came down here to record some further impressions of the Navy at work.
Thank you.
What sort of maneuver is it?
Well, it's a sort of exercise, you know, where the ship goes along and endeavours to... What do you think of the election?
No, let's keep to the point. Did you say a ship?
Yes.
Just the sort of recording I'm looking for. Excellent. What is the purpose of the exercise?
It's an amphibious exercise, sir, to test the speed with which a vehicle can be ferried across the swollen river.
Oh, good. Well, look, I'll slip out and get the BBC recording van. Meanwhile, if you boys could find a hacksaw or something to get these off my wrists, I'd...
Whoa, come on, hey, come here, come on. I hate to see you get up like that. I used the master key I made to get at the ram store. There we are.
Well, thank you very much. Well, look, I'll see you in a minute.
Yes, rather. Well, that's a nice thing. Look what you've done now, Crow. An amphibious exercise. This is a shore base. We haven't even got a boat.
Come, sir, how about the landing craft?
I've let that off as a houseboat. It's got window boxes all round it with geraniums in.
Well, that's all right. He'll think it's camouflage.
We had to think something up, sir. He couldn't go back to the Admiralty again empty-handed.
There's something in that. Here it comes.
All set. Now, what's the program?
Yes. Well, at the order down doors, everybody makes a rush.
Down what?
Down doors. The ramp of the landing craft is lowered, and the imaginary vehicle drives aboard.
Well, look here. Why not put the BBC recording van aboard, and we can record the whole thing from start to finish? How long will it take?
Oh, let's see. The river's about 200 yards wide. By the time we get the engine started, we ought to be there Sunday.
It'll make a fine broadcast. Give the world some idea of the organization and planning that goes into a combined operation. Look, I'll drive the van onto the craft, then we can keep a running commentary going throughout. Are you ready?
Yes.
Right. That's all right. We're all aboard, you see, are we?
Oh, yes, you better close the front door again. Keeps the water out.
Well, look, I think I'd like to start the whole thing off with a little suitable music. Do you think the naval band could oblige?
Oh, suitable music? I'm sure of it. What will you play, bandmaster?
Basie Boogie.
Oh, that should be very suitable.
And this is Burgomaster Bridgman speaking from a landing craft at a combined operations training establishment. Any moment now we shall be crossing the river, the idea being to get our cargo, in this case the BBC recording van, onto the opposite shore in the shortest possible time. The crew is all keyed up to the highest pitch of efficiency. The officer directing the operation, Sub-Lieutenant Barker, is filling in his log, and the coxswain, Seaman Pertwee, and Stoker Petty Officer George Crow, as usual, are busy filling in each other.
10 seconds to go. 1, 2, 3. Take it easy. 6, 7, 8. Take it away. Well, go on, George. The black one's the self-starter. Full speed ahead.
I say we're being followed.
Oh, so we are. We've taken the jetty with us.
Oh, crumbs, we forgot to undo all those ropes and things.
Oh, I'll be silly. Starboard 20.
I expect you can hear the officer giving his orders crisply, confidently.
Starboard 20.
Well, that is starboard, isn't it?
I'm jiggered if I know.
Well, hurry up and make up your mind, cock. Well, they're more than jiggered.
Well, turn it to the left a bit, anyway.
Well, why couldn't you say so in the first place?
The captain's keen eyes are sweeping the water for hidden dangers. Look out, mind that rock.
What rock? Oh, my goodness, that tore it. Oh, the water didn't ought to be coming in like that. Hey, look, sir, that hole wasn't there a minute ago either.
The craft's sinking. My lovely recording van, do something.
Don't worry, I have. Heave to!
Will you be going down with your ship, sir? It's an old tradition, you know.
I know, still I haven't signed for it.
The ship is now sinking rapidly. The water's 2 feet from my nose right now. By the way, shouldn't the ship's band be playing some appropriate music at a solemn moment like this?
Oh, you can't stop me now, Pearl. Don't stop me now, please.
Well, why not?
I've been discovered by Colin Knox. I'll come back later.
But I must stop you, Eric. It's my duty to tell you as commanding officer that mutiny is imminent in HMS Waterlogged.
Mutiny?
Yes.
An ugly word. Very well, I shall have to talk to the men in their own language.
Be careful. What are you going to do?
Make them all out a leave warrant.
Oh, it's gone beyond that. Ever since you lost the BBC recording van and left us all to swim ashore, they've had it in for you. Of course, there are several ways you can try and deal with the situation. You could pay fully for the debt you incur.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Love to do it. I said you can pay fully for the debt you incur.
Oh, blimey, I thought you said I could play footy-footy with Deborah Kerr.
Look, Eric, I hate to say this, but
Oh, God.
I don't think you're cut out for the Navy. Now, please don't let that make you too unhappy.
Oh, that's all right, little woman. I can take it on the chin. I've had some pretty tough knocks in my time, but not cut out for the Navy.
No.
Blimey, I've been trying to sell that one to every MO I've met for the last 5 years. What have I ever got out of it? Course of injection.
What are you going to do when you leave the Navy, Eric?
Oh, same as while I've been in it.
Oh, don't be silly. You must do something.
You must... Well, as a matter of fact, I'm writing a novel.
A novel? Oh, tell me all about it.
You Can Kiss My Astrakhan Collar.
You can... That's a queer title.
Hey, it's a queer book.
What's it about?
A Red Indian salt cellar.
What on earth's a Red Indian salt cellar?
A Red Indian who sells salt.
Who to?
Eh?
Who to?
Everybody in Blackpool.
In Blackpool?
Yes.
What's he doing in Blackpool?
Oh, same as everybody else, waiting for a relief train.
But I mean, how did he get to Blackpool in the first place?
Oh, I see. Yes, he went there on a tandem with Phyllis Bloggs, you see.
Oh, yes. Who's she?
An Eskimo piano tuner he met in West Hartlepool.
Well, of course, I may be old-fashioned, but the whole thing sounds the height of absurdity to me.
Oh?
I ask you, whoever heard of an Eskimo called Bloggs? Why Bloggs?
Oh, you see, her mother married Mr. Bloggs. He was the district manager for the Arctic Circle.
Well, How about the Red Indian salt cellar? How did he find his way to West Hartlepool?
I'm not sure. I think he hitchhiked from Ashby to La Zouch.
No, I mean, how and why did he come to this country in the first place?
Oh, yes. Oh, well, he came over for an old salt cellars reunion dinner.
Do you think the British public is interested in an old salt cellars reunion dinner?
After 6 years of war, they're interested in any dinner.
Eric, but to sustain their interest, you must have a love and a success story.
Oh, there's oodles of love.
Oh, is there?
Yes, Phyllis Bloggs was slung out of the Wrens.
What for?
She was a wardroom steward. It was one long success story.
Yes, I didn't quite mean that sort of a success. I meant the hero should be successful.
Oh, yes, he is. He's a millionaire.
Oh, from selling salt in Blackpool.
Yeah, he runs an ice cream barrack.
Oh. Aren't the children frightened of the Red Indians?
No. Frightened of Red Indians?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, they had Geraldo's band up there the week before. No.
But why is the whole thing called You Can Kiss My Astrakhan Collar?
Yeah, it is puzzling, certainly. You see, he buys a coat with her utility Astrakhan collar from an actor who's just joined the BBC and doesn't need the prestige but needs the money. And right at the very end of the book, she's teasing him. She says, the last man I loved had a gorgeous, great, bushy black beard. He was a RNBR 2 Ringer Special Branch. And then she teases him a bit more. She goes on, I miss him and his gorgeous beard. I used to kiss it. Your face is as smooth as a baby's. Oh, very well, he says. Sulkily, I haven't got a beard. You can kiss my Astrakhan collar.
I see. Well, I've heard some tripe in my time, Eric, but really... Eric, why are you twitching like that all of a sudden?
I'm twitching. I say, Pearl, look at that man in the audience with a muffin on his head.
Eric, there's nobody with a muffin on his head.
No? Oh, silly on me, no. It's a jar of marmalade.
Darling, do you feel all right? Burgomaster.
Do you feel all right, Barker?
Yes, I feel wonderful. It's funny, do you know the snow usually gets me down.
Gosh, I've never had this happen in a broadcast before. Loosen his collar.
I feel fine.
Isn't the doctor in the house? Yes. Oh, thank you. Would you mind coming up here for a moment? Oh, do.
By Jove, he's got a lot of cold free.
I feel fine.
Eric, what is the matter?
Oh, nothing. Don't be a twerp. I spotted him tonight as soon as he came in.
Well, who is he?
He's a senior psychologist in the Navy. Blimey, if he can't work it for me, nobody can.
Oh, come along.
Yes, I'm all right.
Week by week, the merry-go-round goes round the services, bringing music and fun to boys and girls in khaki and 2 shades of blue. This week was Navy Week, and next week the predominating color will be Air Force Blue. Today, our artists were Sub-Lieutenant Eric Barker and Pearl Hackney, Lieutenant John Pertwee, Petty Officer George Crowe, and the music played by the dance band of the Royal Navy Plymouth Division, the Navy Tones, under the direction of leading telegraphist Dick Mayer. And the program was produced by Leslie Bridgemont.
That was HMS Waterlogged, part of the naval edition of Merry-Go-Round from August of 1945. The RAF gets its outing at the top of the next hour with Much Binding in the Marsh. More messing about on the water coming up next with the Navy Lark.
Wait! It's not safe.
Mystery and myth in a Welsh village.
Weird stuff always happens when there's a Shinkin's moon.
What is she saying?
Didn't you see the colour of the moon last night? That's a Shinkin's moon. Look at the size of those...
Oh, rats!
Starring Ellis James, Joanna Scanlon, and even Hugh Davith. Curious Under the Stars.
What will be, will be. But I've seen enough Shinkin's moons to know this will end in death.
Today at 1 on BBC Radio 4 Extra.
What the hell? It started.
The digital station for comedy, drama and entertainment. BBC Radio 4 Extra.
Well, we're halfway through Salute You, Sir, and halfway through the hour dedicated to the Navy. I'm your anchorman, Ian Lavender. We've just heard some early characterisations from John Pertwee in HMS Waterlogged. From there, he went on to create an amazing array of bizarre characters. Lieutenant Commander Weatherby, Vice Admirals Buttonshaw, Grimshaw and Burwasher, Big Dutch Santo, and of course, the eponymous Chief Petty Officer Pertwee. Strange to think that he may not have been around to create those characters had he not been transferred from HMS Hood shortly before it was sunk by the Bismarck. Apart from John Pertwee, another ever-present in the Navy Lark was Leslie Phillips.
Now, as long as you talk slowly and loudly, they understand.
Both did the full 18-and-a-half-year tour of duty with the programme. In this episode, Mysterious Radio Signals, apart from his customary navigational havoc, Phillips causes chaos when he uses Navy resources to pursue his love life. From June 1971, this is the Navy Lark.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present The Navy Lark, written by Laurie Wyman and George Evans and starring Stephen Murray, John Pertwee and Leslie Phillips. As regular listeners will know, Sub-Lieutenant Phillips' romantic path never runs true. Not only that, he never even runs. Walks, usually straight down a cul-de-sac. Unfortunately, there are always new girls being drafted to the Reddery at Portsmouth, and if he dates them quick enough, they don't realise that an evening with Mr. Phillips is likely to be the non-event of their nautical careers.
No, that's unkind.
Yeah, but horribly true, sir.
Oh, granted, but it's still unkind.
You know, I wonder if he'll ever know what is this strange power that he doesn't have over women.
Because his age is against him.
Oh, he's not that old, sir.
I meant his mental age.
If you two have quite finished.
We have. Carry on.
Thank you. Undaunted by past failures, Sub-Lieutenant Phillips is even now trying out his losing charms on the new Wren in the communications branch at Pompey.
That's amazing. I've never known anybody who can make it go up and down as fast as that.
Oh, this is nothing. I can make it swing round my head. Hover in midair. And even run across the floor and come back to me.
Fascinating. I didn't know anybody still had a yo-yo.
Well, actually, it's only plastic. It came as this week's amazing free gift with my copy of Cartoon Capers and Funny Frolics. It'll probably work a lot better next week.
Why?
Well, I've only got a temporary bit of cord in it. Next week, they're giving away another amazing free gift. 18 inches of yo-yo string, absolutely free.
Gosh, I don't know how they do it.
I don't know either, Vera.
Actually, I'm not Vera. My real name is Veronica.
Oh, I'm awfully sorry. I left your knicker off. I didn't know you had any. I mean, at the end of your name. Oh dear, I seem to put both my legs in it. Vera, how would you like to change the subject?
I think I'd better. Now, what is it you want, Mr. Phillips?
Can't you guess?
Well, there are no messages here for you.
I've already got the only message I want.
Come to think of it, I have got a message for you.
Oh, good. What is it?
Why don't you go somewhere else and play with your yo-yo?
I'm not making much progress, am I?
Oh, of course you are. You can make it swing round your head, hover in midair, and even run across the floor and come back to you.
That's not quite what I meant, actually. There are other things in life besides yo-yos.
Well, listening to you, I wouldn't have thought so.
I'm not saying the yo-yos aren't important. Anyway, chaps and chapesses do have to eat. So how about having dinner with me? I know this nice little restaurant down at Pretty Little Mews in Gosport. Of course, the people who run it are foreigners, but they can't help that. Now, as long as you talk slowly and loudly, they understand. There are lighted candles on each table, and there's a gypsy chap who keeps walking about playing We'll Gather Lilacs on the violin in his pyjamas. That is, he's in his pyjamas, not the violin. You know. I mean, he hasn't got the violin in his pyjamas while he's walking about.
I must say, it sounds awfully romantic.
Well, not really. He's a terrible violinist. Still, he does take requests.
Oh, good. What tune did you ask for the last time you were there?
I didn't ask for a tune. I just asked him to stop playing for 5 minutes.
And did he?
Oh, he said he didn't know it. And would I like We'll Gather Lilacs instead?
It sounds like a fascinating evening. Right. What time will you pick me up at the Renery tonight?
Oh, you'll come?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Well, no, I wasn't really thinking of tonight.
Oh, all right then. Tomorrow night.
Yes, no. I wasn't really thinking of tomorrow night either.
Well, Wednesday night's out because I'm washing my hair.
Oh, good.
Eh?
I was thinking of the 31st.
But the 31st's in 10 days' time.
I know. That's when I get paid.
Well, then, the 31st it is. I'll put it in my diary.
Oh, lummy, I've just thought. The 31st's no good either. I shall be at sea. But don't you worry, Vera. I'll keep in touch somehow, and we'll meet the moment I get back. Cool.
Steady at that, sir. And I do wish Mr. Phillips would get back on the bridge, sir.
Do you? Why? I was just thinking how much more peaceful it is up here without him. None of that about Veronica and gosh, lummy, I've never seen such big... and I do hope she's waiting for me when we dock.
Possibly, sir. But we are just entering Portsmouth Harbour, and he is supposed to be our navigating officer.
Yeah, I like that supposed to be. Now, don't worry, Chief. If he doesn't turn up on the bridge, I'll bring her in. Incidentally, where is he?
Oh, he's in his cabin, sir. Tarting himself up in case his new bit of, gosh, lummy, I've never seen such big, and I do hope she's waiting for me when we dock. Is waiting when we dock.
Bridge?
Starboard look out here, sir. Leading Seaman Goldstein chatting. It's nice to know you're in. I was beginning to think you'd all popped out for Hampshire cream tea and a wad.
What is it, Goldstein?
Well, in case you hadn't noticed, and I'm sure you hadn't, we're approaching Portsmouth Harbour. And I thought it was about time someone did a bit of steering.
Thank you, Goldstein. We had noticed.
Oh, good. Isn't English education a wonderful thing?
Goldstein! Now what?
In case I didn't make myself quite clear, when I said we were approaching Portsmouth Harbour, I meant it. Not the entrance, the wall.
What?
I thought that'd get you going.
Wheelhouse, quick, starboard 10.
10 degrees starboard, wheel on, sir.
Pardon? Midships?
Wheels amidship, sir.
Pardon? No, too much. Port 20.
Port 20, sir. Steering 395 on, sir.
Pardon? Engine room, 200 revolutions, half ahead starboard, full astern port.
200 revolutions, half ahead starboard, full astern port on, sir.
Pardon? Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Chief. All that lot was the equivalent of left hand down a bit, right hand up a bit, back a bit, and whoa, we've hit it.
Here, what's going on? Who altered my course? Left hand down a bit.
Left hand down a bit, sir.
No, right hand up a bit.
No, sir, right hand up a bit, sir.
Back a bit.
Back a bit, sir.
Whoa! We've hit it.
Don't feel too badly about it, Mr. Murray, sir. With all that codswallop you just chatted, we hit less than we usually do.
Of course I'm worried about it, Chief, but what I'm more concerned about is why did Captain Povey recall us to Portsmouth 24 hours early? Why was the signal sent in code? And what is it that's going on in Gibraltar Naval HQ that Admiralty don't want us to know about?
I'm not sure, but I'm going to switch on next week and find out.
Excuse me, Wren Chasen.
Yes? Well, what can I do for you?
I'm Wren Penfold, and I wondered if you could tell me if that loud bang was Troutbridge coming back.
Wren Penfold?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you're the gosh lummy I've never seen such big... yes, yes it was.
Oh, fine, because I've got a date with him this evening. He's taking me out.
Well, as one wren to another, watch him.
Why?
Well, the rest of us didn't give him that nickname for nothing, you know.
What nickname?
Octopus Paws.
Well, I like him, and he's really lashing out tonight.
I bet he will be. Yes, of course. It's payday.
He's taking me to a...
No, don't tell me. Let me guess. It'll be this nice little restaurant down a pretty little mews in Gosport. There are lighted candles at each table, and there's a gypsy chap who walks about playing We'll Gather Lilacs on the violin in his pyjamas. That is, he is in his pyjamas, not the violin.
Well, has he taken you there?
He's taken every wren there. He's been there more times than the proprietor.
Oh, well, it's a free meal, and I'll make sure I don't have a late pass.
And if I know lovable Leslie, you'll get an early pass.
Where is Octopus Paws now?
He's in there with Captain Povey, Commander Murray, and Vice Admiral Buttonshaw, the code-breaking expert from the Ministry of Defence. Yes, Captain Povey?
Wren Chasen, are you listening at the door?
I can't be, sir. I'm on the telephone listening to you.
Oh, yes, good, yes. Well, will you bring a tin wastepaper basket in here?
But you've already got a wastepaper basket.
I know that, but it's not tin.
What are you going to do with it? Turn it upside down, get a couple of pencils, and do your impersonation of Buddy Rich playing drum boogie.
Certainly not. Vice Admiral Buttonshaw, the codebreaker, wants me to burn my blotting paper.
Well, we all have our little hobbies. But why?
I doodled on it.
Dirty boy.
And he thinks I may have given something away to the enemy.
1 tin coming up, sir. The things one does for one's queen and country.
Thank you, Wren Chasen. Will you give it to Vice Admiral Buttonshaw?
Young lady. What's the word I want, Tom?
Thank you.
No.
That's the very thing you asked for?
No.
Thermal resistant?
No. It's
Throw the blotting paper in it?
Got it! Can I borrow a match? I'm a non-smoker.
I'll go and get you some, sir. And the fire extinguisher.
Right, sir. Here's my blotting paper.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Povey. Oh, no, I don't need that. No, I've got some in my office.
Yes, sir, but you haven't made things completely clear as to what this is all about.
Oh, haven't I? Well, it's quite simple, Pimple. When you've written a letter, you slap it upside down on the paper, and it blots it. Yeah, I get it from the stores. Several sheets at a time.
Thank you. I think I'll go outside and play with my yo-yo.
You make it crawl up the string over the top of your finger and back down again, spinning like 1300 o'clock all the time?
No, I can't. No, unfortunately, there was a blot on my instructions. I tried to rub it off, and I rubbed a hole in the.
Oh, shut up! You're potty, the lot of you. You don't seem to realise how serious this is. With mysterious powers threatening our island home on all sides, and the balloon about to go up, you are talking about yo-yos.
No. Blotting paper, Povey. No, you weren't listening. No, they don't make balloons out of blotting paper. No. And in any case, I for one don't believe these coded signals were coming from balloons. No, I mean these chaps here were out there. They'd have No, what's the word I want? No.
Notice them?
No.
Notified you?
No, it's no, dear, what's the word I'm looking for? It's on the tip of my tongue. No, got it. You'd have phoned us and told us. No. Let's look at this problem as a
whole.
Exactly.
Gosh, I am proud. I got it right first go.
Now, as I understand the situation, sir, mysterious radio signals have been transmitted in code every night for the past 10 days from roughly the same position where Troutbridge was stationed. And yet no other craft was visible, either to the naked eye or on the radar.
Radar?
That's the thing that looks like a television set, Mr. Phillips, but the programs are more interesting.
As the Vice Admiral has told you, his department cannot break the code of these signals, which raises 3 points. 1, these signals could come from an unknown foreign power. 2, they could come from outer space. And 3, they could be an attempt to contact us from the supernatural.
Yeah, there is a 4th point, sir.
Oh, what's that?
When he hears about this, Chief Petty Officer Pertwee will wish to buy himself out of the service, sir, as from now.
I don't doubt it. Well, Vice Admiral, I think there's only one thing to do. Troutbridge should return to the same station she was anchored at last night and observe if anything untoward happens.
Oh, what a capital idea. Yeah, what's more, I'll go with them.
No, that won't do. Tonight, I've got a date with Gosh Lummy. I've never seen such big...
Oh, forget it.
Not it, sir. Them.
Oh, shut up. Put to sea at once, gentlemen. Put to sea at once.
No, that's not on.
Never mind your crumpet, Mr. Phillips. Put to sea at once.
Well, it's the witching hour. This is the time for the mysterious signals when whoever it is or whatever it is starts transmitting.
Inhuman! That's what it is, sir. It's inhuman. You're not letting me buy myself out.
Very well, Chief. If that's your attitude, you have my permission to take the sea boat that's under repair, lower it into the dank, dark, murky wastes of the ocean, and row off alone into the black. Who knows? You may be the only survivor.
Oh, well, that's extremely kind of you, sir.
Or victim.
No, thank you, sir. No, thank you. I'll stay here if you don't mind, sir.
Good. Well, while we're waiting for a sight of whoever it is or whatever it is, how about a game to relax us while we're waiting for whoever it is or whatever it is to come from wherever it is?
Well, what had you in mind, sir? I mean, one of us goes off the bridge, and the one that's left has to guess which one of us it was. And if the one that's gone, if he has, don't come back, then the one that's left, if he is, has to guess whoever or whatever it was got him. If whoever or whatever has.
Yes. Or alternatively, we could play I Spy. I'll start. I spy with my little eye something beginning with G.
Ah, ghost! No, go away. I haven't made my will yet, so go away. But we don't want to be made into a ghoulie. I shan't be a ghoulie, sir. I shan't be a tick, sir. The next thing that goes bump in the night is that dodgy sea boat going over the side.
Stand fast, Chief.
Yeah, it's very kind of you, sir, but I'd rather not. Any moment now, that door is going to open, and some ghastly apparition is going to materialise in the midst of us. And I don't want to be here when it does.
Hello, you chap.
Ah, it's a
All right, you are, Chief.
What's going on? What's the Chief doing standing on my chart table?
I'm not sure. I think he's trying to hide his latitude so no one can get at his longitude.
Oh. Nasty.
Still no sign of whoever it is or whatever it is out there, I suppose, Chief?
I wouldn't know, sir. I've got my eyes shut.
Bridge?
Able Seaman Ginger here, sir. I'm deputising for Able Seaman Tiddy, sir. It's still on the WT because it's going berserk.
Oh, dear.
The wireless transmitter's red hot, sir. We've had signals coming from Portsmouth every minute on the minute.
Oh, good gracious. Well, read me the red hottest one.
Proceed to change direction 5 degrees due north for 3 miles. Mysterious signals still being received from your position. Therefore, considered inadvisable you remain on station until source located. Signed, C&C Portsmouth, Messrs. Ends. And I, for one, would be grateful if you would act on these instructions immediately, sir, because I've got a nervous tum and I don't feel very well.
What is it, Ginger?
Well, for a start, it's not Ginger. Starboard lookout here, sir. Leading Seaman Goldstein chatting.
Oh, what is it, Goldstein?
Gunnels.
Beg your pardon?
Gunnels, sir. It was purely by accident, while I was trying to keep my mind off ghoulies and ghosties, that I accidentally overheard your I Spy game. And something beginning with G is Gunnels. Am I right?
No. We've more serious things on our minds than something beginning with G. And if you must know, it was Gyro.
But that's cheating. Gyro begins with a J.
No, it doesn't. It begins with G, not J.
Does in Welsh. Yakida.
Now what?
And college would like to use that.
If you'll pardon the interpretation, sir, if whatever or whoever turns up, whatever or whoever are we going to do about it?
Nothing until you come down from that chart table.
You know, all this reminds me of the late-night movie I saw on television. Or it may have been Armchair Theatre. I mean, I know I had to ring up to see if it was all right for me to watch it.
Why?
Well, it was after 10 o'clock. And I wasn't in the armchair, you see. I was in bed. They were jolly decent about it and said it would be all right. Anyway, this film was called The Fanged Monster, The Demons from Outer Space Werewolves. Or was it called Bittersweet? Well, never mind. It was all about two doctors, Frankenstein. Or were they Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde Park? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. There was only one of them anyway, and he was somebody else. Every time he drank his hot, fizzy lemonade, he grew a beard, long teeth, and lead boots. If this wasn't enough, I mean, he adopted this child who was 9 feet high with a flat head and a bolt right through his neck. I kept expecting it to fall out because there wasn't a nut on the other end.
Well, there's a nut on this side, all right. We all know who he is.
Exactly. Mr. Phillips, just what has your 9-foot friend with the flat head and a bolt through his neck got to do with us?
But on the face of it, nothing at all. But think of the castle, which for our purposes we'll call a ship, entirely surrounded by a moat, which for our purposes we'll call the Atlantic Ocean, because you can't float a ship our size in a moat. On the other hand, you can't float a castle that size in the Atlantic Ocean, although somebody may have tried to, because the dungeons were terribly damp. Now then, this is the interesting part. Now, no, this is the interesting part. This is the interesting part. There was a flash of lightning, which for our purposes we'll call a mysterious signal, followed by a crash of thunder, which for our purposes we'll call Able Seaman Ginger on the WT. Now, this lit up the entire room, which for our purposes we'll call a submarine. And this monster on the 9-foot bed, which for our purposes we'll call a 6-foot hammock, slowly stood up. He slowly stood up in his lead boots, which for our purposes we'll call lead boots.
Mr. Phillips, enough is enough. What has all this old codswallop got to do with us?
Well, don't you see? It all makes sense.
No, not to me it don't.
Ah, but you didn't see the end of the film.
No, sir.
And neither did I. Oh. But we're all right.
Why?
Well, we must be. There's nobody aboard who's 9 feet high and a bolt right through his neck.
Mr. Phillips, although you obviously know as much about films as you do about navigation, we're going to have to risk it. I must ask you, which for our purposes I shall call an order, to get this ship underway and steer 5 degrees north for 3 miles.
Aye, sir. But I do hope that chap with the flat head and the bolt through his neck and the lead boots isn't waiting for us when we get there.
Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, starring young America's favorite couple, Ozzie Nelson and Harriet Hilliard. It's only 9 a.m. Mr. Nelson, sometimes known as Ozzie, got up bright and early this morning. How did that happen? Harriet tricked him into it by setting the clock 3 hours ahead and hiding a sun lamp behind the window curtain. Right now, he's in the living room reading the morning paper.
What's the matter, Ozzie? Some bad news in the paper?
No, not that I know of. Why?
Well, you seem upset about something.
Well, I wasn't going to mention it, but as long as you brought it up, I might as well tell you because it's getting very annoying.
Annoying? What's annoying?
Well, this is the third morning that David has wrapped up his lunch in the comic page and gone off to school with it.
All right, dear. After this, I'll see to it that David wraps up his lunch in the financial page.
You know, I don't like to complain all the time, Harriet, but just try to remember I'm older than David. And as his father, it's my privilege to read the funnies first.
Okay. We'll make you a charter member of the underprivileged fathers. How's that?
Well, I'd like to have $1 for every big grown-up man who reads Dick Tracy and Little Abner before he reads the editorial page.
Oh, I know that. And I'll tell you why the funny papers have such a universal appeal. It's because they are basically sound. It's always a triumph of good over evil.
Well, it's the same way in real life. If you do good things for people, good things come your way. Of course, I'll admit that every once in a while you do a good deed expressly for somebody, and the return comes by slow freight. Didn't you think that was funny?
I gave it 2 small chuckles. I thought that was all it was worth, frankly.
No, I know it sounds like corny philosophy, but I really think it works out that way. If you do the right thing, it'll come back to you every time.
I think everyone has had experiences along that line. I'll never forget the time I had a birthday party when I was 10 years old. I gave my little dog a piece of my birthday cake. And the very next day, I got lost coming home from school. And it got darker and darker.
Yes, go on.
Oh, boy, I was really lost.
Well, what about the little dog and the birthday cake?
Oh, he didn't like it. He spit it out.
Did Gloria bring in the mail yet?
I don't know. She's out in the kitchen. I'll call her. Gloria! Gloria!
Did you call me, Mrs. Nelson?
Yes, did the mailman come yet?
Yes, the mailman's been here, Mrs. Nelson, but it's pretty uninteresting stuff.
A lot of bills again, I suppose.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Nelson. I didn't see you there in that sports suit. You look very serious this morning.
Well, we were just discussing the theory that if you do nice things for people, nice things will come your way. Do you subscribe to that philosophy?
No, I just subscribe to the Ladies' Home Journal.
No, Gloria. Mr. Nelson means that if you spread kindness and good deeds, it gives you a wonderful feeling of well-being. You get a nice, warm glow all over.
Don't you get a terrible hangover the next morning?
The kind of a glow I mean is the pleasure you get from doing little things for people.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for instance, every morning when I go to work, I pick up a couple of servicemen.
I tried that once, but it's impossible without a car.
Gloria, you don't seem to quite get the point of Mr. Nelson's theory. He means if you do nice things for others, nice things come your way.
Oh, yes. Like what happened to my poor nephew, the boy I was telling you about, Mrs. Nelson, the one who was framed.
Framed?
Yes. How was he to know he was driving that stolen car over the state line?
Well, my goodness, when was that?
The night he held up the gas station.
Well, how does that fit in with doing a good deed?
Well, they sent him up to Alcatraz and put him on bread and water. So he did something nice for the warden, and the warden did something nice for him.
He did?
Yes, he put him on raisin bread and water.
Oh, fine. No, Gloria, the kind of good deed I had in mind is just a little different. Now, I'll give you an example. For the past 3 weeks, I've been going all over town, up one street and down another, tracing down every lead and rumor in order to find an apartment for friends of ours who are coming out here from the east.
Yes, and personally, I think that was carrying the good deed program a little too far. You just can't get apartments nowadays.
It's really terrible. Do you know my cousin and her family are paying $60 a month for 2 rooms with an adjoining?
An adjoining what?
I don't know. They haven't been able to get the door open yet.
all agree that it's impossible to rent an apartment, I'd like to break the news that I got one for Randy and his family.
Why, darling, that's wonderful.
Well, Mr. Nelson is a wonderful man.
Oh, thank you, Gloria.
Can I have this afternoon off?
Well, I guess so.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, before you go, Gloria, make sure that all the dishes are washed and the beds are made, and phone the grocer and give him tomorrow's list.
Roger.
You know, I just couldn't seem to make Gloria understand what we were talking about, could I?
I don't know. I think she got the general idea, along with the afternoon off. Say, who is this Randy that you got the apartment for?
Randy Bigelow, don't you remember? We met him in Toledo, Ohio. He's the president of the Randy Bigelow Little Dandy Zipper Company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you see their slogan everywhere. Little Dandy, the zipper that's different.
Well, what's different about it?
It goes sideways.
Well, you ask a silly question, you get a silly answer. I still don't see how in the world you located an apartment for him.
Well, it wasn't easy, I'll tell you that. They're arriving tomorrow morning. He didn't dare leave until I wired him I had the place all set.
Does he have a family?
I'll say. He has his wife, 4 children, 2 dogs, and his mother-in-law.
Yikes.
That's what made it so difficult. You know, most places won't rent an apartment if you have a mother-in-law.
Did you say they're arriving tomorrow?
Yes, I did.
Well, then don't you think it would be nice if we went over to the apartment to check and see if the people who moved out left it in good order?
Say, maybe you're right.
And I'd like to take along a little something for the living room table.
Oh, that's very thoughtful.
I want the place to look bright and cheery. I'll go get my hat.
Yes, and bring a vase to put it in. Well, come on, Harriet. I think the apartment's right here off the lobby. No, wait a minute now. This isn't it. Just a minute now. Say, maybe this man knows. Pardon me, mister, but do you live in this building?
No, I don't. I'm a doctor. I've just been visiting a patient.
You don't happen to know where I could find apartment 101, do you?
Well, yes, that's the apartment I just came from.
Some friends of ours are moving in there tomorrow.
Oh, no. Nobody's going to move in or out of there for at least 2 weeks.
Well, what do you mean?
I mean that the little boy in there has measles, and I've just quarantined the place.
Oh, what are we going to do, Ozzie? Mr. Bigelow will be here tomorrow, and he won't have a place to stay. I suppose all the hotels are crowded.
Crowded? They're jammed. Would you believe it if I told you that last week somebody squeezed the lobby of the Plaza Hotel and people came out of the top like toothpaste?
No, I wouldn't.
Neither would I.
Well, you can joke all you want to, but I suddenly dread meeting that train in the morning.
Yeah, I almost wish I had the measles. If I could only figure... Say, do you see what I see?
Where?
Right there on the sidewalk.
Cigarette butt?
No. No, it's a wallet.
Well, watch out for the string. Remember how we used to play tricks like that when we were kids?
No, this is no trick. Gosh, look here. Somebody's lost a big fat wallet.
Any identification card?
Let me see. Yeah? Henry Williams, 2397 Mountain View Drive.
Well, you can mail it to him.
Boy, this guy's really got a few bucks here. 5, 10, 20, 40, $76.
My goodness.
Gosh, all I can say is this makes me look pretty cheap.
What do you mean cheap?
Well, me with never over $2 in my pocket, and this Henry Williams, whoever it is, has $76.
Now, you know just as well as I do, Ozzie, that you're very careless with money.
Oh, this guy's careful, huh?
Well, at least you'll never lose $76.
Well, if I did lose it, I'd have to lose it at $2 a week.
Come on, it's almost 4 o'clock. You can write him a note when you get home and then mail it to him after dinner.
Hey, look at this. His ration books are in it, too.
All right, so you can mail them to him with a wallet.
Well, don't you think it'd be much better if we took the books directly to the ration board?
Ozzie, you mean walk all the way down there?
Well, we've been talking about doing good deeds. Here's our chance.
But, Ozzie, it's 23 blocks.
Darling, walking 23 blocks with you by my side would be a pleasure. Because you're wonderful. You're beautiful. You're lovely. And I love you.
Oh, Ozzie!
This is the first time I've ever been to a ration board. Who do you think I ought to see?
Anybody that'll see you. Why don't you try that man at the desk over there?
Okay, I beg your pardon.
Yes?
How do you do? I came here because...
Because you want more gasoline.
No. I don't want any more gasoline.
You don't?
No.
Let me smell your breath.
Now, listen, you don't understand.
Well, friend, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll give you that extra gasoline. In fact, I'll give you all the gasoline you want. What do you think of that?
Let me smell your breath. Listen, I didn't come here about any extra gasoline. All I want to do is...
Well, that's perfectly all right. Just fill out this form.
No, but I don't want...
Here's the form, friend. Just fill it out. Now, what's your name?
Ozzie Nelson, but listen...
Ozzie Nelson. Occupation?
Orchestra leader.
Occupation, non-essential. Now, where were you born?
You don't understand. We came here about a ration book that was lost.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so? That'll be window C. Just sign an affidavit and tell them where you think you lost it, and they'll give you another one.
Well, we don't want another one.
No, we've got somebody else's book.
Well, don't you know it's against the law to use somebody else's book?
Pardon me. Harriet.
Yes?
Why don't I just mail this ration book to the man along with the wallet?
Well, that's a wonderful idea, Ozzie. How in the world did you ever think of it?
Ozzie and Harriet return in just a few moments, and in the meantime, here is a bit of Jerome Kern at its very best. From the musical show Roberta, we hear The Touch of Your Hand.
Ozzie has convinced Harriet that the best thing to do about the wallet they found is to return it in person to the owner. We find them driving to the other side of town. It's a typical California evening.
Now, I'm glad we changed our minds about my mailing that wallet. This Mr. Williams might have worried all night about it.
I suppose you're right. As long as we're doing a good deed, we might as well go all the way.
Yeah,
Boy, this rain is really coming down.
I'll say it is. You know, I kind of like riding in the rain when it's raining, don't you?
Yes, I do. It gives you such a cozy feeling.
Yes, it does.
Of course, I think it'd be much cozier if we had the top up.
Oh, I'm sorry about the top. It just doesn't seem to work.
Well, aren't you supposed to push that bottom button?
No, I pushed that button once.
What happened?
It opened a bridge in Seattle.
You know, I really believe you keep this top down just to tell that stale joke.
No.
Well, there's one thing sure. It can't rain any harder than this.
What did you say, Harriet?
I said it's the first time I've ever been swimming with all my clothes on.
I see what you mean. Gosh, I'm still so worried about that apartment for the Bigelows.
Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
Don't look now, but there's a man in a uniform riding a motorcycle, and he's following us.
Forget about it. It's probably Nelson Eddy on his way over to visit Jeanette McDonald.
Okay, buddy, pull over there!
Okay.
Well?
Hello, officer. Where's the fire?
Right down there. Hey, wait a minute. I'm supposed to say that.
We weren't speeding, officer.
I know you weren't.
Well, then what'd you stop us for?
Well, my friend, the next time you make a left turn, see that you put your hand out.
But I did, honest. Feel my sleeve. It's still wet.
Tell that to the judge tomorrow.
It'll be dry by tomorrow.
That's very funny. Let's have your license, please.
All right, here it is.
Say, this license here. Are you the Ozzie Nelson who's on the radio?
Well, that's right.
Well, gee, it's nice to meet you. And are you Harriet Hilliard?
Yes.
Oh, gee, I listen to you every week.
Oh, well, thanks.
You know, I've never heard you two sing my favorite song.
What song is that?
The trolley song. Would you do a special favor for me and sing it, huh? Here? Yeah, would you? For me, would you mind?
Well, seems sort of silly, officer, but here goes.
Harriet usually sings the first part of it.
With my high starched collar and my high top shoes and my hair piled high upon my head, I went to lose a jolly hour on the trolley and lost my heart instead. With his light brown derby and his bright green tie, he was quite the handsomest of men. I started to yen, so I counted to 10. Then I counted to 10 again.
Clang, clang, clang went the trolley. Ding, ding, ding went the bell. Zing, zing, zing went my heartstring. For the moment I saw her, I fell. Chug, chug, chug went the motor. Bump, bump, bump went the brake. Thump, thump, thump went my heartstrings. When she smiled, I could feel the car shake. I tipped my hat, then I took a seat. She raised her eyes, and I was swept right off my feet. I said, oh, she said, you fool. She looked so luscious, I was starting into drool.
Buzz, buzz, buzz went the buzzer. Plop, plop, plop went the wheel. Stop, stop, stop went my heartstrings. As he started to leave, I took hold of his sleeve with my hand. And as if it were planned, me and it was grand just to stand with his hand holding mine to the end of the line.
Oh,
Gee, that was great. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your singing it just for me.
Well, thank you, officer.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, gee, I'd know your voices anywhere, and I want you to know that I always listen to you on the radio. I wouldn't miss you. My wife and my kids, we think you're wonderful. Say, I wonder if you'd mind signing my book for me, huh?
Oh, I'd be delighted to. There you are.
Oh, thank you. Here's your copy. Be in court tomorrow at 9. Bye.
I think this is the house here. Is it 2397?
Yes, that's the number that was in the wallet.
Well, at least we know we have the pleasure of making somebody very happy today.
Yes. It'll be worth all the trouble we've gone to when we see their faces light up. They're going to be so happy.
Ring the bell, would you?
Yes?
Good evening, Mrs. Williams?
Yes? We found a wallet that belongs to your husband.
Yes, this wallet here.
Let me see it. Yes, this is his wallet. It has $76 in it.
Well, where's the other $4? Did you take your reward out in advance?
Well, it only had $76 in it when we found it.
Look, Mrs. Williams, my husband and I drove all the way over here to return this wallet.
Yes, and we live way at the other end of town.
Why didn't you leave the wallet where it was and let somebody find it who lives closer to us?
You mean you don't think we should have picked the wallet up off the curb?
No, because my husband is out looking for it, and now he won't find it.
I must say you're not very appreciative.
Oh? Have you folks had your dinner yet?
Why, no, we haven't.
You're going to be awfully hungry by morning. Good night.
Gee whiz. We keep doing nice things for people and everything turns out wrong. What a night.
Let's not even mention the fact that Mr. Bigelow and family are arriving tomorrow with no place to live. Gosh, Harriet, I hate to say this, but I think we're lost. I can't see out. Where do you think we are?
On the bottom of Lake Arrowhead.
Certainly looks like it, doesn't it? I wish that windshield wiper hadn't washed away 2 hours ago.
Well, I guess it could be worse. We could run out of gas or get a flat tire.
I'd hate to fix a flat tire in this rain.
Look, let's you and I not even think about having a flat tire. We might have one by just thinking about it.
Yeah, let's not even think about it.
Me and my big fat thoughts.
Something tells me we now have a tire that needs to be fixed.
Well, come on, aren't you going to get out of the car?
Well, naturally, I don't expect you to jack it up with me sitting in it.
All right, funny man.
Okay, honey. Out we go.
Where'd he go? Ozzy, are those bubbles you?
Oh, stop yelling. I'm over here. Come on, I'll help you out of the car.
I'm scared.
Are you kidding? It's not even over your head. Come on, the last one in's a rotten egg.
Here I come.
Boy, it sure is lucky I have a sense of humor.
Well, I haven't, and I'm the one who's sitting in the mud. Give me a hand, will you?
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, eat!
I'll bet I look a mess.
What'd you say?
I said I'll bet I look a mess.
Well, that is a rather unusual place to be wearing a mud pack.
Ozzy, look at this mud and water. You can't fix a tire here.
I guess you're right. This is awful. Well, there's one thing left. Let's start walking.
It seems like we've been walking for hours. Where are we?
I don't know exactly, but at least we're in a civilized community. There's nothing but big apartment houses around here.
Ooh, I'm glad the rain stopped, but that wind's mighty cold.
You think maybe we've walked all the way to Chicago?
Ozzy, look out! Duck your head!
Ouch!
Oh, Ozzy, are you hurt? That sign hit you on the head. The wind must have blown it down.
Oh, gosh, what a wallop. It's a good thing it was only a glancing blow. It might have brained me. Or am I bragging?
Hey, am I seeing things? Look at that sign that hit you. Does that say... It certainly does. It says apartment for rent.
Did you say apartment for rent?
Oh, I'm so sorry, young fella. I do hope that you're not hurt bad. You see, I was up there hanging that sign when all of a sudden the wind blew, ooh, like that there, and that old sign slipped out of my hand, like that there, and fell down. Oh, look out, and landed right on your head. Shoot! Like that.
May I congratulate you, sir, on a remarkably graphic and dramatic description of the event?
Including sound effects.
Oh, 'twas nothing.
Oh, now, just to get down to the point, you have an apartment for rent. I have a big lump on my head, a brother-in-law who is a lawyer, and some friends who need an apartment desperately.
Say no more, folks. Say no more. The apartment's yours. Just follow me.
Harriet, did I hear him right? Did he say the apartment is ours?
That's what the man said. He said it. Gosh, this warm bed feels wonderful.
Yeah, there's no place like home. You see, Harriet, what I said was proved tonight. I did a good turn for somebody, and even if it wasn't appreciated, it came back to me. I returned that wallet, and through doing that, I found an apartment for my friend.
I guess you're right, Ozzy. I'll bet it makes you feel good all over.
Oh, yes, I feel great about it.
Well, that's good, dear. But I was just thinking,
What, dear?
isn't it too bad you have pneumonia?
This is the Armed Forces Radio Service.
Human drama of the famous lie detector, bringing you authentic case histories from the files of the late Leonard Keeler, one of the world's foremost scientific criminologists. Mr. Keeler's real-life part is played by Hart Maguire, who reveals from week to week some of the most baffling human dramas of our time. The Hidden Truth. Incredible history of the lie detector, I can't remember a more incredible series of events than those which shaped the human drama about to unfold this evening. About 3 o'clock one cold and blustery winter's morning, Mrs. Alex Graham cried out in her sleep.
Oh, I can't stand it. Alex, wake up, please.
There was no answer to
the use? Oh, I'd better phone myself. Operator, get me a doctor, please. I'm in terrible pain. What? Oh, any doctor. Oh, 1214 Avenue A. Hurry. Oh, hurry, please.
Hello in there. Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Glad to see you, officer. Maybe you'd better look into this.
Yeah? First, I think I'd better look into you. What are you doing out here, pounding on doors this time of the morning?
Excuse me, I can understand how I might look suspicious.
Very suspicious. What's your name?
Dr. Mills. I'm an intern on the staff at Memorial Hospital.
Yeah? Live in this neighborhood?
No, the phone company called in and said someone in this house wanted a doctor in a hurry. I tried the bell a half dozen times, and I've been pounding on the door. Maybe we'd better break in.
Now, wait a minute. You got proof you're a doctor?
Yeah, shine your flashlight on this.
Looks okay. But I can't break down any doors without a court order.
Look, officer, someone in this house is sick, or they wouldn't call a doctor. Do you think this is any time to worry about legal red tape?
Well, if it's all the same to you, I'd rather wait for the sergeant to come around. If he says it's okay...
How soon will he be around?
He makes the rounds about every hour. Let's see, he drove through this neighborhood about 35 minutes ago. That means he ought to be...
You think I'm going to stand here and wait 25 minutes when someone might be dying in there?
What about my job? If I make a decision like this and the sergeant don't like it, I'm liable to get shipped to the sticks somewhere.
Well, let's assume that you didn't make the decision. I did. Come on, let's try to crack this door.
Wait. I don't like this one bit. I'd better walk down to the call box and phone the station.
Then please hurry. I'll keep knocking on the door and see if I can rouse anyone.
Oh, I didn't think I'd ever be able to get downstairs.
Hey, what's the trouble here, lady?
Never mind, I'll handle this. Here, I'd better help you over that sofa. Give me a hand, officer.
I tried to get my husband up, but nothing ever awakens him.
He must be a heavy sleeper to stay in bed through all this racket.
Here, now lie down here, please.
I've never had such a sharp pain in my life. Oh, it's almost like a knife.
Where is the pain?
In my side. Right here.
A little pressure here. Oh, officer.
Yeah, what is it? Something?
I'm going to wrap my coat around her and get her down to the hospital in my car. I don't want to take the time to wait for an ambulance.
Is that bad?
After you help us out to the car, come back and phone Memorial Hospital. Tell them to put in a call for Dr. Warren.
Warren?
Yes, chief surgeon on the staff. Tell him to get the operating room ready for an emergency appendectomy. Then try to get her husband up and tell him what's happened. I hope I got her here in time, Dr. Warren.
Mills, I don't like the looks of this.
Is something wrong?
No inflammation whatsoever. Perfectly normal appendix.
What? But there was every symptom. I'd be willing to swear that...
I know. Looks like an emergency case to me, too.
Severe pain in that region. What would any doctor think?
Nurse?
Dr. Warren, she stopped breathing.
She's oxygen. Oxygen at once. Mills, I don't know what to say about this. We made a bad error in diagnosis.
Well, we thought we were doing our best for her. No one can deny that.
Well, I'll make out the report. Emergency appendectomy. Patient succumbed under anesthesia.
I'd give a lot to know what really did cause that severe pain, Dr. Warren.
Yes, so would I. I'm going to ask your husband's permission to probe further and make some laboratory tests. Anything we can track down might prevent a repetition of this unfortunate business. Hey, Dr. Mills, I hear things didn't go so good for the Graham woman.
No, things didn't, officer. Did you bring your husband with you?
Look, Doctor, when we first went in her house, she did mention her husband, didn't she?
She did. She said she tried to get her husband up, but nothing ever awakens them.
You sure of that, huh?
Certainly.
I went through that house from basement to attic, and no husband.
What? But you mentioned a husband, officer. He must have been in the house.
If he was, he didn't do any sleeping there last night. The only bed mucked up was the one she was sleeping in, and that was a single. There wasn't a twin bed in the room with the covers turned down. I guess it was ready for someone who never came home because of that fresh sheets on it that weren't even mussed.
Mills, do you suppose she thought her husband was there when he actually wasn't? It's possible in her severe pain that she didn't realize that he hadn't come home.
Yes, it is possible.
See here, officer. It's very important that we find her husband without any further delay. I'd appreciate it if you'll check with some of the Graham neighbors and see if they can give you any information about him.
What, 4:45 in the morning?
I think it's very important that you should try to locate him, officer, without any further delay.
Okay. I'll go back to my beat, and when the sergeant comes around, I'll ask.
Good Lord, we've been all over the sergeant business before. Can't you do anything on your own initiative?
Sure I can. Providing the sergeant okays it.
Well, will you please get back to us as soon as possible with any information you can pick up? If you can't find her husband, find an next of kin. We've got to notify one of her relatives.
Right. If the sergeant okays my making an investigation, I'll report back to him and have him call the lieutenant.
The lieutenant?
Sure. All my reports clear through the sergeant, and he clears them through the lieutenant. That way everything gets done faster, see?
No, I don't see.
Oh, never mind.
World's full of red tape, Mills. Oh, well, we'll have to make a full report on this. I want a description of the operation right up to the point of death. I want to look at that incision you made. Again, Dr. Warren, I want to satisfy myself that there is absolutely no inflammation of that appendix. I think you'll prove that to yourself quickly enough. Well, I'd be willing to bet that 99 out of 100 doctors in a similar situation and with similar symptoms would diagnose it as acute appendicitis. Yes, but on the other hand, too many of us blame the appendix for all sorts of abdominal pains. I, for one, won't be caught again, I assure you. Well, I sure wish they'd send someone else out in this case besides me. Well, that's part of your internship, my boy. You'll have to learn to take all cases as they come and do your very best with each one of them. With your medical training and a great deal of care in diagnosis, your margin of success will be much greater than your margin of error. That's all they can ask of any doctor. You're being very kind about this, and I appreciate it, Dr. Warren. Don't forget, I'm not an intern, and I made the same mistake. Here, let's examine that incision. I'll show you just how wrong. By George Mills. Dr. Warren, that incision. Someone's been here and been here is right. The entire inner stomach has been removed. Nurse, come in here.
What is it, Dr. Warren?
Who's been in this room?
Why, no one, Dr. Warren. Except her husband came in to identify the body.
Her husband?
Why, yes. Didn't you know he was here, Dr. Mills? He said he had your permission.
Her husband? Well, I never... handle this, Mills. That's all, Miss Bates. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Warren.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yes?
Call the district attorney's office. Ask him if he can get over here as quickly as possible.
It's pretty early in the morning, Dr. Warren, only a little after 5.
I know, but I think they'd better get him up.
All right. Is it something about Mrs. Graham or her husband?
If you don't mind, I'll save that for the district attorney, Miss Bates.
Yes, Doctor.
Dr. Warren, I swear I never saw her husband. I haven't talked to anyone about this case except you and that police officer and Mrs. Graham herself. Whoever removed that stomach did a very professional job, Mills. But I'm no surgeon. Surely you don't think that I... Wait. What about... Well, of course. I'm a surgeon, am I not? Do you have the audacity to insinuate that You came back in here. You were all alone for 10 minutes after she died. You had all the time in the world to... You've said enough. I might mention that you, too, spent some time here alone, Mills. You came in to pick up the charts and stayed rather longer than necessary. I am not a surgeon, Dr. Warren. And you yourself expressed the opinion that this is a very professional job. Look here, Mills, we're acting like children over this thing. We've allowed ourselves to be upset by the knowledge that there'll be an investigation made. both be under suspicion, it's true, but if Miss Bates allowed Mrs. Graham's husband to come in here...
Suppose the husband turns out to know nothing about surgery.
Then we'll have to do some thorough investigating here at the hospital.
They'll think one of us tried to cover our mistake.
I'm not so sure. But in view of what's happened, I'm quite sure I know what caused her pain, Mills.
So am I. Poison.
Of course, poison. And whoever poisoned her didn't want it to be found in her stomach. The evidence has been removed.
Then it's obvious that her husband knew she was poisoned.
Seems even more obvious that he poisoned her. But we'll let the police make those kind of deductions. All we can say is that her husband was in this room alone, that her stomach was removed by means of expert surgery.
He probably thought we'd never discover it.
That's why we've got to keep this discovery very quiet. If he doesn't suspect that we know, it'll be much easier for the police to contact him.
Well, gentlemen, we got it all straightened out. The neighbors knew all about Mrs. Graham.
Well, close that door, officer. We don't want to disturb the other patients.
It didn't take the sergeant and me long to find out that she hasn't got a husband.
What?
This thing's gone far enough, officer. You heard her mention her husband, and so did I.
Yes, and her husband actually came to this hospital tonight.
What are you trying to give me? How could he come here? Alex Graham's been dead for 5 years.
Dead? Are you sure?
Sure, I'm sure. I even brought a half-dozen neighbors who went to his funeral. He died suddenly in his sleep one night and made his wife go wacky. She tells everybody he isn't really dead, but just a heavy sleeper. Can you imagine that? When all our neighbors saw them put him in his grave.
But a man who claimed to be her husband came here tonight.
Yeah? Was he wearing a shroud and carrying a heart?
This is anything but funny, officer. Better call your sergeant and have the sergeant call the lieutenant and tell him to call out the whole police force. Death of Mrs. Graham looks like the most brazen kind of murder.
The Hidden Truth continues in just a moment.
When did you first see this man?
He got off the elevator on the operating floor and came right to my desk, Mr. Allison. He was terribly distraught and seemed as though he'd been drugged.
Drugged?
Then I realized that it was something else. He seemed half asleep. I
Wait
had
a
trouble
minute,
understanding.
This man told you that an officer told him his wife was here?
Yes.
Officer Elrath, is that true? Did you see her husband?
I did not. You know she hasn't got a husband. You saw the death record. He died 5 years ago.
Did you see anyone who claimed to be her husband? Did you tell anyone that Mrs. Graham was at this hospital?
I didn't see anyone. I didn't tell anyone, except the sergeant. I went through that house and found one bed that was slept in and another one turned down like someone was expected, but it hadn't been slept in. Now, the neighbors told me...
I know. She refused to believe her husband had died and every night turned his bed down for him just as though he'd actually come and sleep in it.
Yeah, the woman was nuts.
She might have been nuts, but when her husband died, he left her $100,000 worth of insurance. We can't find any record that she spent very much of it. What's happened to that money?
Got me. I didn't see it around the house, if that's what you mean.
If she was crazy enough to think her husband is still alive, she might be crazy enough to hide it somewhere instead of putting it in the bank. If someone found out about that money...
Sure. It'd be a simple matter to poison her, and after they carted her away, all he'd have to do is pick up the dough.
Might have been slow poison. Whoever did it probably didn't reckon with her being taken to a hospital. He was afraid they'd discover the poison here and took a very bold method of lifting the evidence. Elrath?
Yes, sir?
I want you to join my men at the Graham home. I want to be sure that nothing's been disturbed since you checked over the place last night.
Okay. I just hope I don't find somebody laying in that empty bed, that's all.
Hello, an outside wire, please. Beg your pardon? Oh, this is Charles Allison. I'd like my office, if you please. Yes, I'll wait.
The man was terribly shocked when I told him Mrs. Graham was dead. He couldn't seem to believe it and insisted on seeing the body. I took him as far as the door.
Hello? Allison. Looks like poison and possible robbery, Fred. But if it's poison, it's been removed, stomach and all. If it's robbery, we don't know what and how much. I'm going to play a hunch, Fred. I want you to go back 5 years and get out the records on Alec Graham, deceased. He left about $100,000 worth of insurance, and I'm going to have his body exhumed. 2 days later, District Attorney Charles Ellison sat in my office. He was a very puzzled man.
Honestly, Keeler, if your lie detector can't unravel this mess, I'm not sure that anything can.
Yeah, now let me see. 4 known suspects, 1 unknown.
Yes. 2 of them with obvious motives, 1 with a hypothetical motive.
As I understand it, Dr. Warren might have tampered with the body in order to take attention away from the fact that he shouldn't have operated in the first place.
Yes, and that intern Mills might have committed some blunder, such as giving her the wrong medicine and trying to cover.
It was the man who posed as her husband. How are you coming on that?
Nurse gave us a complete description, but so far we haven't gotten anywhere in tracking him down. Made a pretty thorough search of the Graham home, too. No evidence of poison, no evidence of robbery, not much evidence of any kind. Except that we're quite certain no man lived in that house.
About her husband's body, you were going to have that exhumed, I understand.
Yes.
Well, suppose you find evidence of murder in the death of Alec Graham. That would take the case back 5 years. Oh, excuse me. Yes, Keeler. Oh, yes, he's here. For you, Allison.
Thanks. Hello? What? Well, that's incredible. Are you absolutely sure? Well, I'm going right out there. I've got to see that for myself.
Break for you, Allison?
Keeler, there's no body in that grave.
There's what?
They just finished opening that grave a few minutes ago, and the body is gone, coffin and all.
While Charles Ellison concentrated on the search for the missing body of Alec Graham and the mysterious person who posed as Alec Graham, I went about the business of running polygraph deception tests on the known personalities in the case. Now, your name is Edgar Warren.
It is.
Just answer yes or no, please.
Well, it's an interesting machine, Mr. Keeler. Blood pressure curve, pulse rate, respiratory curve, and measurement of skin resistance.
Yes, I'm glad you're familiar with this operation. Actually, the more you know about the polygraph, the more difficult it is to beat. Oh, I see. Shall we continue?
Yes. By all means.
Is your name Edgar Warren?
Yes.
Dr. Edgar Warren?
Yes.
Do you live in this city?
Yes.
Have you had something to eat today?
Yes.
Did you perform an appendectomy on Mrs. Alec Graham?
I started to, but she succumbed on the table.
Just yes or no, please. Dr. Warren, did you remove Mrs. Graham's stomach?
No.
You're quite sure you've eaten today?
Yes.
You're sure you didn't remove that stomach in order to take attention away from your misdiagnosis?
What the devil are you getting at, man? I'm head surgeon at this hospital. Do you question my integrity?
You know about that operation, Dr. Warren. You're covering up for someone. Now, Dr. Mills, any discussion will only delay the test. Please answer my questions with either a yes or a no. Understand?
I understand.
Go ahead. Is your name Thomas Mills?
Yes.
Dr. Thomas Mills?
Yes.
You live in this city?
Yes. Nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing.
Now, Miss Bates, you understand the procedure?
Yes, I understand, Mr. Keeler.
Is your name Eleanor Bates?
Yes.
You're a registered nurse?
Yes.
You've had considerable experience with operating techniques, haven't you?
No.
Have you eaten today?
Yes.
You've had quite a bit of experience in operating techniques, haven't you, Miss Bates?
I have not.
Yes? Do you want to continue the test, or do you think we can talk without the polygraph?
Turn it off. Please turn it off.
I hope you're sure of what you're doing, Keeler. We'll soon know, Ellison. We'll soon know.
It's a
Suppose this body is buried down here in the basement of his own home. How did it get here?
Well, I hope to answer that question as soon as Elrod gets back.
All right, hold it.
By George, Keeler, there is a coffin down here.
But don't tell me Mrs. Graham buried it here herself.
Well, here's your full report, Allison. Number 1, Dr. Warren.
Anything on him?
No, except that he knows who performed that extracurricular operation. He was trying to protect a member of his staff. He suspected this person wanted to handle it in his own way.
Dr. Mills?
No. According to his polygram, Dr. Mills is a very serious young intern who seems to have good judgment and has every intention of becoming a top-flight physician.
And what member of the staff had reason?
Eleanor Bates.
What? The nurse?
Yes. It was she who removed that stomach and gave it to the man who called at the hospital that night.
But why? What's the incentive for a thing like that?
$5,000.
Uh-huh.
The man who came to the hospital that night was Henry Sellers, an undertaker in this city.
An undertaker?
Yes. He was the undertaker who originally buried Alec Graham. During the embalming, he noticed traces of arsenic and went to Mrs. Graham with his accusation.
You know? You found out?
Yes, I know, Mrs. Graham. You poisoned your husband for his insurance, didn't you?
If you'll bury him without disclosing what you found, I'll pay you $5,000, Mr. Sellers.
10,000.
All right, 10,000.
As months went by, Mrs. Graham began to have hallucinations about her husband. Her mind gave way gradually. She wanted her husband close to her.
If you were to bribe the grave diggers late at night and bring my husband's body to my house,
That'll be very expensive, Mrs. Graham. If anyone should find out and become suspicious that your husband's death was not caused by a heart attack.
I'm prepared to pay, Mr. Sellers. I'm prepared to pay.
But the death of Mrs. Graham, Keeler. Sellers grew increasingly more greedy. He knew that Mrs. Graham had a small fortune hidden somewhere. And if he could get her out of the way... Oh, Elrod, bring him in.
If only she died at home where she was supposed to die. You never would have found out. You never would have suspected.
Where's that money, Sellers? What did you do with Mrs. Graham's money?
You'll find it buried. In the cemetery.
Keeler, I'm becoming more and more convinced if every potential criminal knew he'd have to reckon with the lie detector, I don't think there'd be many criminals left in the world, potential or any other kind.
Adventures by Morse. Carlton E. Morse presents The City of the Dead, featuring Captain Friday.
If you like high adventure, come with me. If you like the stealth of intrigue, come with me. If you like blood and thunder, come with me.
Midnight, on the third night in the old abandoned graveyard, better known as the City of the Dead. A melancholy silence has settled on the cottage of Mayor Joshua Friday, lifelong caretaker of the old cemetery. Jimmy Parker, a prisoner, sleeps uneasily in one bedroom. His girlfriend, Phyllis Carroll, lies in a bed before the flickering embers of the dying front room fire. The knife wound in her back breaks her light breathing with barely audible moans. Dr. Tuner is sleeping heavily on the lounge, ready to attend her at an instant notice. The mayor and his son, Captain Friday, private investigator, occupy the double bed in the bedroom assigned to Miss Carroll before she was stabbed. Earlier this evening, but let Captain Friday tell it.
Earlier in the evening, a skeleton had suddenly been thrust through the front door to collapse on the rug almost at Phyllis Carroll's feet. It was a skeleton neatly wired together, joint by joint. Around its spinal column was fastened a message which said, "I have come out of the grave, marked Theodore Beverly, but I do not belong in his grave. I am not his skeleton. Theodore Beverly was Miss Carroll's grandfather and was supposedly buried in the City of the Dead 14 years ago. He likewise had buried $500,000 worth of black pearls in the City of the Dead before he died and left instructions where to find them in papers received by his granddaughter on her 20th birthday.
Yes, that's why Jimmy Parker and I came down to the old cemetery here. And now this skeleton has come up out of my grandfather's grave to tell me that he is not my grandfather and should not have been buried in my grandfather Beverly's tomb.
Yes, well, Miss Carroll went all to pieces over the presence of the skeleton, and it had taken several hours to get the household settled down for the night and to lay the skeleton out decently in the shed at the rear of the house. Finally, a semblance of quiet had descended upon the house, and its occupants had retired to their rest. And so came midnight.
Oh.
Shoulder hurting you, Miss Carroll?
Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Tuner. I didn't mean to awaken you.
You didn't. It was that caterwauling outside.
I was just dropping off to sleep when it began. Why do you suppose it does that? Makes that awful noise. Captain Friday swears it's human.
Don't worry about old Clawfoot. You feel feverish?
No, just uncomfortable.
Let's see. Open your mouth. And put the thermometer under your tongue. There. Have you slept at all?
Mm-mm.
Why, Tunkett, didn't you say so? I'd have given you something. How was I to know you were awake when you lay there still as a log?
Mm-hmm.
Here, now, hold your tongue still. I'll do the talking. You haven't been worrying, have you?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't I tell you not to talk? Here, let me have that thermometer. And just a mite of fever. Not enough to keep you awake. I'm going to give you a sleeping powder and tuck you in. I want you to go to sleep.
I'll try.
What in Tunkett's that?
Oh, that came from Jimmy's room.
Hi! Hi out there! What's the matter? Is Phyllis all right?
What's the matter with you, Parker?
I can't sleep. I heard someone talking. Is Phyllis worse?
No, Phyllis is not worse. She's trying to get some sleep.
Look here, Doctor. Let me out of this room. Let me sit beside her the rest of the night. I won't run off.
Hey, who's making all this rumpus? Who is that pounding?
Oh, you awake too, Captain? Young Parker's pounding on his door. He wants out.
Does, huh? What do you want, Parker?
I can't sleep, Captain Friday. Let me sit by Phyllis the rest of the night. I won't run away.
Why should I do that?
Well, I'd feel easier.
Oh, I'm sure I could sleep if Jimmy was sitting by me.
You kids aren't up to something, are you?
Oh, no, really. I feel too woozy, and Jimmy wouldn't go away without me.
Hello. Old Clawfoot's out again tonight.
Yeah, he's been around for the last hour, up to some new devilment, I suppose.
Aren't you going to let me out?
All right. Come on out.
I promise you I won't try to escape.
You won't try if you know what's good for you.
That room gives me the creeps. Did you hear old Clawfoot at it again?
How could we help it?
I caught a glimpse of him through the bars of my window. He was out there by the shed.
You mean where we put the skeleton?
Say, I'd forgotten the skeleton. Yes, that's right where he was.
That bird's got a nose for old bones. I think we better investigate. Doc, you stay here with Miss Carroll. Parker, you come with me.
Captain, is the mayor sleeping through all this?
Huh? Oh, Dad? Oh, I guess he is. Tell you what I'll do. I'll lock his door so nothing will disturb him. Let him sleep.
Now, what in Tunkett are you locking the mayor in for?
I just told you, didn't you hear me, Doc?
Sounds like a lot of foolishness to me.
No, never mind. Let's go, Parker.
You all right, Phyllis?
I'm all right, Jimmy. Don't worry about me.
Come along, Parker.
Yeah, okay.
You sure you saw old Clawfoot hanging around the shed?
You don't think I could mistake him, do you?
This is the screwiest business. Yeah, keep on the grass.
Listen. The church bell.
If that isn't coming up the valley from the old church ruins, nothing ever did. Hello, you were right, Parker. The shed door's open.
Golly, I wonder if...
Let's have a look. The skeleton's gone.
Door broken open and the skeleton gone.
Not a sign of him. We laid him out on the bench there, didn't we? Look around outside for footprints.
Yeah, it's hard to see anything, even with the moonlight.
Yeah, but no fog. See anything? Nothing over here.
I don't think so. Hey! Captain Friday, come here.
What have you found?
Some kind of a bone.
Bone? Well, look what you found. You know what this is, Parker?
No.
One of the bones off the foot of our skeleton.
Off the skeleton?
Looks like he dropped something in his escape.
Yeah, but Captain...
Look over there. There's another. Yeah, who says a skeleton can't leave a trail? Come along, maybe we'll find another one.
But it's taking us down into the City of the Dead.
What of it? Graveyard's a natural place for a skeleton, isn't it?
I suppose so, but...
I was right. Here's another bone. Looks like an ankle bone, doesn't it?
I don't know. I never studied anatomy. Do you think old Clawfoot has done this? Strung that skeleton's bones out over the country this way?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
But why?
I wish I knew. That's the reason we're following this trail of bones. If there's a purpose, we'll find it out soon enough.
Oh, there's another bone.
Where?
There ahead, glistening in the moonlight.
Ah, so there is. It's a bone from the skeleton's lower leg. Looks like old Bag of Bones is going to pieces fast.
Well, so am I. I don't like trailing skeletons in a cemetery. Not with that claw-footed thing slinking around.
I think I see another bone ahead. The trail's leading us down toward the old church. Who knows? Maybe we'll find another message.
Messages tied around the neck of a skeleton. That's about the limit.
There was a weird bit, wasn't it? Let's see. What was it now? I have come to you out of the grave marked Theodore Beverly, but I do not belong in his grave. I am not his skeleton.
That sounds as though the man who was buried as Phyllis's grandfather wasn't her grandfather at all. Do you think that's what the message intended to say? You know, Phyllis's mother never was certain that the body was that of Theodore Beverly.
That was a good many years ago. If no one could be certain back at that time, how could anyone know for certain at this late day?
I don't know. After all, who wrote the note?
Hello. Here's a bone from the upper leg. What do you suppose we'll find next?
Look here, Captain Friday. Let's not carry this thing out any further. Let's go back to the house and wait till morning.
I should say not.
But you don't know what kind of a trap you're running us into.
Trap?
Yes, trap. Listen.
Just a phantom church bell again.
Look. Look over there. Didn't you see something move?
I did not.
Well, I did.
I doubt it. You're just plain scared.
I tell you, I'm not. I saw something. Something creeping. Something in the shadows of the tombstones.
Rot.
It isn't rot. It isn't. It's something alive. There are creeping things all around us. I tell you, I can see them everywhere.
And I wish to heaven you'd point some of them out to me. I can't see a thing. Except up ahead, I see another bone.
I tell you, I'm going back.
You're going ahead with me.
I'm not.
Parker, are you going to come along?
No.
Well, you are, and quick. I have a gun here, Parker, and it's loaded.
Pretty brave with a gun in your hand, aren't you?
I'll give you until I count to 3 to start walking toward that next bone.
I won't move.
1, 2.
Go ahead and shoot.
I'm not going to shoot you, Parker. I just wanted to see if you were really as yellow as you were trying to make out.
Yellow?
Sure. Trying to kid me into believing you're deathly afraid of a cemetery at night.
What about it?
You haven't seen anything to make you scared, and you know it. And you wouldn't be as scared as you pretended even if you did see all those creeping horrors you were babbling about. Creeping horrors.
Pretty smart, aren't you?
Any man who'll stand up against a gun, as you've just done, isn't very much afraid of anything.
Thanks for nothing.
So, as I've got it figured out, there's some very definite reason why you don't want us to go any further.
Go ahead and figure all you like.
I'm all through figuring tonight, fella. I know now why you balked on me.
How do you know?
Because I have the same suspicion as you where this trail of bones is leading us.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you do. You think, and so do I, that someone is guiding us to the place where the Beverly pearls are buried.
What is this trail of bones? This search for a king's ransom in pearls? What are these messages from the grave? If the skeleton in the grave of Miss Carroll's grandfather is not her grandfather, then who is it? And where is Grandfather Beverly, supposedly for so long at his rest? And why... But more in just a moment.
Captain Friday, I tell you, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you do, Parker. You think, and so do I, that someone is guiding us to the place where the Beverly pearls are buried.
No, nothing of that kind. It's not true.
Oh, yes, it is. Now then, are you going to come along with me to find out, or do you want me to go on alone?
I wasn't thinking about the black pearls.
Deuce you weren't. Look here, Parker, there's no use trying to kid me. I can read a man's face, and I know exactly what's been passing through your mind. Now, if you like, I'll take you back to the house and lock you in and then return alone.
I'll go along with you.
I thought you would.
Oh, I wish that bell would stop that.
Forget about it. Look, here's another little heap of foot bones. Skeleton's lost his second foot now. And right up there ahead is... No, it's his ankle bone.
Well, I'll certainly know bone structure of the human body by the time I get out of this place.
Too bad you're not studying medicine over at the University of California. Look at the starch you'd have on most of the fellas.
No, thank you. And I'm not growing up to be a grave digger either.
Well, here's the bone of the lower left leg. We're getting well down into the city of the dead. Do you realize that?
We must have come a mile.
If it was just a little lighter, we'd be able to see the outline of the old church.
I wish I knew who threw that knife that stabbed Phyllis.
A number of things I'd like to know. For instance, I'd give a half share in the Rockefeller Foundation to know how come Lammy Fink was scared to death. And who burned down Lammy's shack. And who it was that tried to get into your room and was murdered by old Clawfoot. And who Clawfoot is. And who filled up Ernie Morton's grave. And who tried to shoot Dad down in the old church. And
what your father does every night when he slips out of the house after everyone else is asleep.
There's another bone. That makes both feet and legs of our skeleton. We ought to gain on him fast now that he's left his lower extremities behind.
Look, there's a little pile of bones over to the left.
Oh, so there is. If I'm not mistaken, those are the bones of his fingers and right hand.
And I'd still like to know what the mayor does when he slips out.
You'll be just as well off, Parker, if you don't wonder too much. Come on.
Well, we'd probably find out a lot about this mystery if we did know.
I'll tend to that end of the matter. Well, there's the bones of the left hand in a nice little pile.
Wonder what's become of old Clawfoot himself. Certainly made himself absent since we come out of the house.
He's a little like the pink flea. Here one moment and where the next.
Well, anyway, your father won't be out tonight, seeing you locked him in before we
Let the mayor alone. Oh, we must be getting near the end of the trail. There's the two forearms of our skeleton together.
Look here, Captain Friday. What do you really expect to find at the end of this trail?
I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if it were the pearls. Though why in the deuce anyone would want to give the secret away, I don't know.
No one knows where the pearls are hidden but Phyllis and myself.
Well, if you knew, why didn't you dig them up the first night, the night you were taken prisoners by the mayor and Doc Tooner?
Well...
You certainly did some digging. The blisters on your hand show that.
Oh, I dug all right.
Well, did you find anything?
I guess I miscalculated in the dark.
Did you dig in just one grave?
I didn't say I opened a grave.
Well, then, did you dig in just one spot?
Yeah.
Why did you give up so easily?
Well, we thought we heard someone moving around in the city of the dead, and Phyllis got scared. She wouldn't let me try a second time.
Heard someone, huh? Did you see anyone?
Just shadows. We couldn't be sure it was anyone. Phyllis was nervous about being down here anyway, and you can't blame her.
No, I suppose not. Then what happened?
Well, there's some more bones, Captain.
Oh, good. The two upper arms. We must be getting close. There isn't a heck of a lot left to this skeleton. Now, well, go on. What happened after Miss Carroll insisted that you leave the city of the dead?
We went back to the car, which we left on the road outside the city of the dead above the mayor's cottage.
Didn't you fill up the grave?
You mean the hole, don't you?
Yes. Didn't you fill up the hole you dug?
No. We left in kind of a hurry.
Then my cue is to look for the excavation.
A lot of good it'll do you.
Why do you say that?
Because I've seen the spot since, and it's been filled up.
It has? You certain?
Yeah, I know it has.
When did you have the opportunity of investigating? You've been locked up since that night.
I saw the place the day you took me down into the city of the dead and discovered that Ernie Morton's grave had been opened.
Oh, so that's it.
Look there.
Well, ain't that something? Our skeleton has had the audacity to leave his pelvis bone lying right out in the open. I suppose we'll find a trail of ribs and vertebrae scattered along ahead of us next.
I suppose so.
By George, Parker, why didn't I think of it before? I know where we're headed for.
Yeah? Where?
I'll bet you money this trail is going to lead us directly to Ernie Morton's grave.
Oh, you don't say.
I most certainly do say. I'll be a mighty disappointed man if I don't find the grinning skull of our friend the skeleton perched on Ernie Morton's headstone.
There's a couple of ribs. 2 more of them down there about 20 yards.
Good enough. We'll be in sight of Ernie's grave in a few minutes now.
Well, what will you do if the trail does end there?
We'll sit down and keep guard until morning, and then first thing after breakfast, we'll reopen that grave. There must be something buried there. All the activity seems to center around the place.
Well, if you're going to do it by daylight...
Shut up, Parker. I hear something.
What is it? Shh, listen. Someone's digging over there.
Not a word now. Follow me.
Yeah.
We'll sneak up on the grave robber. Keep down in the shadows of the headstone.
I can see his outline.
Be careful, he'll hear you. Look. Look there on the headstone.
The skull.
The skull of our skeleton. The end of the trail. And it is Ernie Morton's grave. Oh, if that fellow would turn around, I'd be able to see his face in the moonlight. Look. Look. Now you can see who it is.
Dr. Tuner, why are Jimmy and Captain Friday staying out there so long? Do you think anything's happened?
No, you don't need to worry about them. Captain Friday can take care of himself, and young Parker.
But they were just going out to examine the shed, and they've been gone almost an hour.
And then you just settle down there and go to sleep. Hasn't that powder I gave you made you drowsy?
Yes, but I keep thinking... Oh, he's right outside.
Well, I don't reckon it matters much if he is.
But why don't Jimmy and Captain Friday drive him away?
You can't tell. Maybe they're trying to trail old Clawfoot, and he gave him the slip and came back to house.
Oh, but what does he want here? Why does he keep hanging around the house?
Well, you're not afraid with me here, are you, Miss Carroll?
No, but I wish Jimmy was back in the house.
Yeah, I reckon you're safe enough. And then there's the mayor sleeping right in the next room. Oh, goodness knows how he can sleep with all this ruckus.
But his door's locked. He wouldn't be any good to us if anything should happen.
Well, he could break the lock easy enough. It's tolerably old. But there isn't any need, young lady.
Oh, I am afraid, Dr. Tuner. Maybe Jimmy and Captain Friday were lured away from the house on purpose.
Crickety, I never thought of that. Say, maybe I'd better wake up the mayor. Then if he says so, I'll bust the lock. Captain had no business locking the door in the first place.
Oh, I wish you would. Oh, listen to him. Look.
What in
Look at the window. Look at the window.
Where? I don't see it.
He was there. He was there at the window staring in at me.
Who, old Clawfoot?
Yes. Oh, it was horrible.
I'm getting mighty brave. I'm going to rouse the mayor. Mayor! Hi, Mayor! Mayor Friday!
Oh, hurry. I can hear that thing prowling around outside the house.
He's sleeping dang heavy, even for the mayor.
Try again.
Hi there, Mayor. Mayor Friday. Hi in there, Mayor.
What do you suppose is the matter with him?
Dang funny, I can't get a sound out of him. Listen a moment, see if I can hear him breathing.
What do you suppose makes him do that?
I can't hear the mayor at all. That's funny, too, because he always snores like a foghorn when he's sleeping heavily.
You don't suppose something has happened to him, too, do you?
What could happen to a man in there? The windows are barred and the door's been locked ever since Captain Friday left.
But the windows were barred and the door was locked when someone stabbed me.
Oh, Savannah, I wonder if the mayor's been stabbed. I'm going to open that door.
Oh, yes, please. I think you ought to. Oh, Dr. Tuner, I'm so frightened.
You got me going now.
He's at the window again. He's at the window. Oh, make him go away.
Well, what do you want me to do? Wave the tablecloth at him? You keep still. I can't do more than one thing at a time, and I'm going to see what's happened to the mayor.
Oh, all right.
Don't look at the window if he frightens you.
Oh, I can't help it. What are you going to do with that chair?
I'm going to break in the mayor's door. I wished I had a gun. I'd take a pop at that thing. That'd burn his wailing anyway.
Oh, please hurry with the door. What are you doing now?
I'm the other furniture back so I can get a good swing. Now then, we'll see how strong that lock is. Stouter than I thought.
You've broken the leg off the chair.
Blast the chair. She's giving away. There she is.
Is he in there? Is he all right, Dr. Tuner?
It's blacker than Sam Scratch in here. Where's the mayor's flashlight?
There on the table.
Yeah, now we'll know in about a half a minute what's what.
Dr. Tuner? What's the matter? What's happened in there? Oh, Dr. Tuner! Dr. Tuner!
He ain't here. The mayor ain't any place in that room.
He's not there.
Not hiding her hair of him.
Oh, are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. I even looked under the bed for the body.
But how did he get out? Are the bars still on the window?
Yeah, I looked especially to see. Now, if that ain't the craziest thing I ever heard tell of.
Oh, but he must be there.
Well, he ain't.
Oh, but people simply can't just disappear through a locked door. They can't.
Well, the mayor's gone and done it.
Oh, but if the mayor's disappeared, then one of us may be next.
I don't calculate that makes me feel any better.
Oh, I wish Jimmy was here. Oh, where is he? Dr. Tuner, Dr. Turner, do you suppose he and Captain Friday have vanished, too?
I ain't thinking of anything, except I'm going out and clean up on that claw-footed son of a gun in about a half a minute.
Oh, please, you won't leave me, will you? Promise me you won't.
Don't reckon you need to worry on that score. I ain't one of them brave fellas that goes out looking for trouble. No, I'll stay here with you, all right.
Oh, but what'll we do? You don't suppose that thing...
What thing?
Well, whatever it was that got the mayor... You don't think it's still in the house, do you?
Well, how should I know? I don't even know that the mayor's been got.
Well, if something hasn't got him, then what has become of him?
Does your imagination always work overtime this way? A fella could get the creeps just sitting listening to you imagining things.
Well, I'm sorry if I'm acting badly, but nothing like this ever happened to me before.
Well, it doesn't happen to me every day either, thank heaven.
If that thing outside the door would only go away, I wouldn't feel this way, but... Oh, Dr. Turner, look. Look at the front door. It's opening.
Gosh sakes, I forgot to lock it.
Oh, hurry. Lean against it. Oh, hold it shut. Don't let him get it open.
I've got it. If I can push it shut, Who's out there?
Oh, can't you hold it? Can't you hold it?
I'm trying my dangest. Whoever's on the other side of that door is as strong as an ox.
Oh, it's the claw-footed phantom. You mustn't let him get in. You mustn't.
I can't get any hold with my feet. He's gaining on me. I'm slipping.
Dr. Turner, the fireplace poker's on the rack. Can you reach it?
Good. It'll give me something to fight with.
Oh, can you reach it?
Yeah, I got it. I'm going to let go of the door and crack him over the head with the poker when he comes in.
Oh, be careful. Oh, you missed him. Look out, Dr. Turner. Look out. He's got a knife.
And if he comes within range of this poker,
Oh, no. You killed Dr. Turner. You killed Dr. Turner. Oh, don't. Go away. Don't look at me like that. Go away. Oh, don't come near me. Oh, please. Please go away. Don't touch me. Jimmy! Oh, no.
The terror of old Clawfoot has descended on the old caretaker's cottage. What of the girl's peril, alone in the presence of the wailing phantom? What of the ghoul caught digging in Ernie Morton's grave? What of the skeleton that walks, the phantom church bell, the buried treasure of black pearls? Listen at this same hour next week when we bring you Chapter 7 of the Carlton E. Morse adventure drama, City of the Dead. Listen to Chapter 7, entitled Captain Friday Vanishes.
As always, thanks very much for joining us. Sunday Night with Old Time Radio is broadcast every Sunday night from 8 to 11 p.m. Central Time. We hope that you'll always be a visitor. Until then, until next time, sleep tight. This is a production of Lobato Studios, Sao Paulo, Brazil.